Check this out. You're on official Brown Lockdown. Yeah. Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah, Rob. Only on The Fan.
Yes, it is. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, the Football Friday Fiesta underway here on the... Well, that's a thing that just happened live on the radio. No worries. We're good.
It's happened before. It's not like it's unusual. I mean,
it's still unusual. It's not the only time, but I would like to... What is happening?
All right, this is your own fault because you're just like wearing a plain white T-shirt.
The Plain White Tee is one of the greatest bands of all time.
Okay, and it's weird for you.
Let's try out a new vibe today.
Mr. Pink, Mr.
I went joggers and white kicks today. Trying out a new thing.
It looks like no socks, but you got those weird socks.
I'm a no-show sock guy.
Yeah,
no-show sock guy.
I just don't understand that because I guess they must use glue to keep them on your feet so they don't slide under your heel.
Are your feet slimy? Why are things sliding around on your feet?
I don't think I'm the only one who has that problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Friday Football Fiesta underway. Let's get to it because it is going to be a massively busy day on the radio program today. We've got to talk about socks, the correct style and fit of them. We've got to talk about football. I asked the question yesterday, and I got, stop running, Kyler Murray. Please stop running. I can't not see it anymore. We've got the highlights going on, for the record, for one more hour until we turn it over to the Ryder Cup at 7:10 when Bryson DeChambeau and the boys get it started off for Team USA.
Do we?
Yeah.
Do we?
Yes. I am going to go ahead and put it on spoiler alert now. The Ryder Cup goes on the TV at 7:10, and that's it. Yes, it is the best golf. Here's the hottest of the hot takes, people.
We'll see if you remember to come around here and get the remote and do it, because,
I'll do it right now.
I'm not going to remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's my hottest of hot takes. I like the Ryder Cup more than I like the Masters. I like the Ryder Cup more than I like the Masters. It is a more fun event. It's a shorter event. Obviously, there's far less people playing, not at it. Well, also at it.
How could you like it better than that? I mean, come on.
I love this is more a compliment to the Ryder Cup than it is a dig at the Masters. I love the Masters. The Masters is the only golf day that happens every year where I say, don't call me, don't text me, don't beat me, don't fax me, don't smoke signal me, don't carrier pigeon me at all.
Don't beat you?
Beep.
Okay.
Beepers.
I'm pretty sure that sounded like a T. But
don't reach out to me on Masters weekend, because my wife and I will be on the couch drinking some azaleas and enjoying the show. The Ryder Cup is the football version of competitive golf. It is electrifying. It's the absolute best. And the best part about it, but you know what? I'm not even going to say the best part about it. I'm going to play you a clip from the opening ceremony, which took place on Wednesday. But I still think it's absolutely fantastic. Luke Donald is the captain of Team Europe. He got to the microphone to give his whatever hype speech. That's not really hype, but it was kind of hype, but it's not hype. Here's how he opened up the Ryder Cup.
It is not about prize money or world ranking points. It's about pride. It's about representing your flag, your shirt, and the legacy you leave behind. We play for our families, our teammates, our countries, our continent, and for the generations before us who made this event what it is today. The American team is rightly proud of their heritage, but so are we. Our European legacy is rooted in resilience, in togetherness, and in proving people wrong. Time and again, we've shown that when we come together as one with a shared purpose, we can achieve remarkable things.
What do you mean? Listen.
USA. Get off the podium, punk.
Hang on.
No one wants to hear your pleasantries. No one believes you.
I am 1,000% over the next 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Sunday. I am going to be 1,000% that obnoxious USA whole week is going to be me, that guy. All right? I can't wait for it. But I am also going to say, if you can get me excited about the event with the accent of the bad guy in every Revolutionary War movie, that means I'm excited about the event. That's great. I love it because I am.
See, I envisioned, even though I already saw the guy while you were recording, I envisioned Ludwig Kaiser up there.
When the event kicks off, guys that I love, Rory McIlroy. I love Rory.
Punk.
I love Rory.
Punk.
One of my favorite golfers of all time.
Loser.
But it's 7:10 this morning.
Why does it have to be then? I mean,
because that's when the tournament
starts.
But
this is the day of. It starts the day of. I mean, if you got hatred towards these guys because they're competition, it needs to come out now. We get this gentlemanly, cordial stuff.
I mean, it is golf. I love Rory. Terrell Hatton is one of my favorite athletes, period, point blank, end of discussion.
You're making me believe that you would heckle politely. Come on.
Okay. I'm going to pull the clip of this and play it in just a little while. Let me tell you the heckling that I respect. I'm glad you brought that up because this is actually going to be a thing for later in the show. Yesterday, Rory and Team Europe.
Your putter is short.
It's actually really funny, but no, that wasn't it. Rory McIlroy and the rest of Team Europe were standing yesterday on the first tee, on the driving range, getting ready for their final round of practice before they go out for round one coming up later on this morning. And as Rory was standing on the driving range and they were all kind of standing around waiting for their opportunity to get up there and get loose, a guy, an American from the crowd, Rory was fixing his shirt. They were wearing polo shirts, obviously. And Rory is fixing up the buttons on his shirt. And a fan yells at him, "Hey, Rory, you don't need a top button to choke." Let me tell you how good that heckle was. That's a God tier heckle. Let me tell you how good that heckle was. Team Europe started laughing at it. Tyrrell Hatton turned around and pointed at the guy and goes, "Hey, that's a good one." Like they lost it at how good. That's a great heckle. And that's what I'm here for at this event, man. I want to beat that ass over the next 3 days of golf. But at the same time, it is an event that I think you kind of recognize. The team that is across from us is the world's best. And they look at us and say the team that's across from us is the United States best. This is the best of the best of the best that exist doing our sport.
Is the number one golfer in the world playing?
He sure is. Scotty Scheffler will be in Group 2 going off the tee. And this is fun. Listen, I could do...
Where's he from?
Scotty Scheffler will be from Texas.
That would be in what country?
The United States.
Right.
Yeah.
Take that, Europe, you punks.
However, if you look down the list of world rankings, there's a lot of Europeans in the top 20, a lot of them on this team. So
second place is what?
Silver medal.
First loser.
So I am very interested in the strategy from Keegan, our captain this year, not our Keegan, Keegan Bradley, professional golfer, because he has decided to send out Bryson DeChambeau in our first group. And there is one reason and one reason alone that you throw Bryson DeChambeau out in the morning session One reason and one reason alone.
Flex session.
It is 1,000% a vibe. It is 1,000%. I'm going to tell you how it's going to go. Hole number 1 is a downhill dog leg to the right. And if you can fly the trees, you're looking at like, I think it's like 375, 380, something like that to the green. And so for the biggest hitters, it is possible to fly those trees and get on in one. Now, if you miss, you are completely, entirely, and thoroughly duh. But if you get on, it is going, if Bryson DeChambeau, and I'm telling you, not only is he going out first, I'm going to go with he's going to go for the green in one. And if he misses whatever. They are sending out John Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton as their first. Hatton is the other, like he's Team Europe's Bryson DeChambeau. He's a vibes guy, an emotional guy, an electric guy. So you are putting up the two vibes guys against each other. But Tyrrell Hatton does not have get on and one power. The most anticipated shot is going to be Bryson DeChambeau's first tee shot, because if he goes for it and if he gets there in one, that place, the lid is going to come off. It's going to be wild. It is going to be wild if he gets on. So this is a vibes play from Team USA. I love it from Keegan, because you do it one of two ways. You either send out Scotty Scheffler in the very first tee time, and you go, you're the best golfer on planet Earth. All we need you to do is go out there, hit your shots, and win this foursome. Because 2 years ago at the last Ryder Cup, Team Europe went 4-0 on the morning foursomes of day one. And that was we weren't coming back from that. We were bleeped from the drop when they went 4-0. You can't do that. So one of the things it looks like Keegan wants to do is let's get the golf course on our side. Let's get the Americans, let's get the Yanks absolutely fired up here. And I think that's Bryson DeChambeau's job. Go out there, drive a couple of greens, hit a couple of OMG tee shots, get the people buzzing so that when the next groups of four come by, they're already electric, right? When Scotty gets on the tee in group two, the guys around the box, the gals around the box in the Star Spangled Banner, they are already buzzing. They're already hype. And now we can ride that. Now, that puts a lot of pressure on Bryson, because if Bryson DeChambeau goes out there and he misses, if he goes out there and he hits one and, 10 yards into the rough or goes OB on the opening tee shot or whatever, all of a sudden it's a different story. Because if he goes out there and gets the slow start and looks bad, then all the people that are at the beginning of the golf course, which is where I want guys like Scotty to start feeling the energy out there, there's not going to be any. In fact, quite the opposite. If Bryson DeChambeau blows it out of the gate, then what happens? Exactly the opposite. If I'm Tyrrell Hatton, if I'm Justin Rose, all right, cool. Like, I'm just going to hit my shots and let Bryson implode. I'm just going to play easy, conservative, traditional golf. I'm going to let Bryson have to army march his way back into this. And if he starts to get back into it, sure, we'll pick it back up. But let's just go hit our golf shots. Let's go play go play one under golf. And let's let the Europeans here start to feel the vibe. And let's see if we can do for the guys coming out in group two what they sent Bryson DeChambeau out to do for the guys in group two on the American side. This thing starts gasoline at 7:10 a.m. I could not be. This is my favorite event in golf. I like this event more than the Masters. I love the Masters. The Masters is about the golf course, though, right? And this is at Bethpage Black. This is at one of the most difficult golf courses anybody can play. That adds to the element. The Masters is about Augusta. Yes, it's about Rory getting his first green jacket. It's about the meltdowns. It's about the comebacks. It's about the drama of the game of golf, but it is all built around the history, the tradition, the legacy that is Augusta National. The Ryder Cup, it's not about the course. It's about the course only in that That's where they're playing. They've got to overcome unique challenges at whatever course it's based at this year. But every eyeball is on the golfers, and it's on the pairings, and it's on the chemistry, and it's on the strategy, and it's on the captains. Because if they make a wrong decision and they send out the wrong guy in the wrong slot at the right time, and you give a full point away, right? If we can walk out of this thing in the early four, if we can walk out of it tied, we've got a real good chance. If we can walk out of it 3-1, we got an excellent chance. If we can split this thing even, however it shapes up, we've got ourselves a chance for the weekend. If we go down 3-1 to Team Europe in the opening four, that's a mountain to get over to come back. So Keegan Bradley's opening pairings are maybe the most critical pairings of the entire weekend. And it's going to be wild. All right, we got session number 1 going off at 7:10. It is foursomes. And then at 12:25, session number 2 will start. That will be 4-ball. That's 4 guys playing their own shots. We'll do foursomes out of the game. That is the same schedule for tomorrow. And then obviously on Sunday for day 3, it'll be singles starting at noon. 6 hours of excellence. I can't wait. This, to me, has me buzzing the way the Olympics do. Like, this is golf Olympics for me. And I know there's golf in the Olympics, but this is golf Olympics for me. This is going to be exceptional, to the point that I spent 16 minutes opening the show on the Ryder Cup. Hell yeah, we did. No, I'm not ashamed. No, I won't apologize. But when we come back, it's the hashtag Friday Football Fiesta. So let's do this. Let's talk about this South Carolina-Kentucky game, because I have labeled it must win. If you don't win this game, South Carolina, you might as well start developing your next crop of players. Start giving the young guys some XP, because hopes of even making a bowl evaporate with a loss against Kentucky tomorrow. Let's talk about that and a whole lot more when we come back. Rob, Lonzo, you, The Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Good to have you all.
Short break.
BRB, guys. The South Carolina Gamecocks taking on the Kentucky Wildcats this weekend. I have labeled, I will continue to label this game a all bold must win for the Carolina Gamecocks. I do not think that it is an option. If you have, for the record, any desire to make a bowl game this year, then I think this is a must win. And it is 100% about the schedule. It is 100% about where you are going after this. It's not going to get any easier after this. And so in order to get to your 6 games that you need to get to, this has to be one of them. If you walk out of this with an L, 7:45, night game, Williams-Brice Stadium, all of the things that are supposed to be in your favor are in your favor tomorrow night. We spent the offseason talking about how Williams-Brice Stadium is a special home field advantage. Last time out, you got your ass whipped on that football field. There is more to it than just the fact that if you lose this game to Kentucky, if you start with a 2-3 record, all 3 in the conference, there's a lot more to it. We have talked about the schedule, obviously, a multitude of times. I know it's probably been beaten like the dead horse that I'm sure many of you feel like it is. It is not about the fact that the second half of the schedule is dramatically tougher than the first half, which you are 500 through 4. It is also about the fact that I've got no reason to believe that a team that struggled against Virginia Tech, who lost to Old Dominion 2 weeks later and fired their coach, that a team that, yes, the 38-10 scoreline doesn't indicate it, struggled for 2.5, say almost 3 full quarters against South Carolina State, with all due respect to SCSU. For a team that got absolutely beat down by the Vanderbilt Commodores. Yes, I understand that's a good Vandy team. I'm the one that spent the offseason telling you, you better be careful of this Vanderbilt team. But you got it handed to you. And then a team that had every opportunity against Missouri to get it done. And I'm not going to say that you shot yourself in the foot in this game. I am going to say you lost that game, in my ever so humble opinion, because of a dramatic ineptitude at the fundamentals of football. A lack of understanding in the play calling on offense as to what does work, has worked, and is working. And on defense, you can't tackle. You can't tackle. And I don't know what to say about that. That is one of those things that I can sit here and drive over and over and over into your eardrums. But if you are telling me that through 4 weeks of football, you can't tackle, you're getting a running back who is just – and listen, we've talked about it quite a bit. Ahmad Hardy is a very good running back. If we're power ranking running backs, he is towards the top of the list. But that's not Derrick Henry out there. You've got to be able to tackle. It is ineptitude at the basics, at the fundamentals, that has brought you to 2-2. So not only is Kentucky a must-win game this weekend, but I am also going to say there is one thing I am looking for in the win. Can we scale it back? Can we dial it back? Get the little things right so that the big things fall into place. I was watching Shane Beamer's press conference yesterday, and he got asked about the things he felt were working and were not working against Missouri, and how he's going to take advantage of that in the game against Kentucky. And Shane was talking about play action passes. And he said, for a little while, the play action was working. So one of the things we need to do is get the run game going so that we can complement that, so that we can get to what was working early in the Mizzou game, which was deep balls. How many of those big shots down the field are, respectfully, the only reason that you were in that football game? Deep shots to Nick Harbor and whoever else was down there, the only reason that South Carolina made that game look competitive. And to his credit, Shane pointed out that if we can't get the run game going and be a team that can run it at you and then throw it over your head, his words, not mine, we're not going to accomplish what we want to accomplish. And that was something that I pointed out Monday, was the big shots work, but you cannot be a team that lives and dies by the deep ball. You cannot be that team. You will not find a successful team. If anybody has one contrary to this, I'm here for it. But you will not find a team that is successful solely because of the deep ball. Can't do it. You have got to have a run game that can keep a defense pressed up, because I'm at the point, if I'm Kentucky, what am I doing? Hey, y'all make sure that Harbor kid doesn't get to do anything. Remember Mighty Ducks when they figured out that Keenan could hit the knuckle puck and they were playing Iceland and they set Keenan up for the knuckle puck from the blue line, and the Iceland coach looks at the ice and he goes, "Shooter!" And what happens? Everybody just go get that guy. They just rough him up, take the puck, go down to the other end and score against Team USA. It's that against Nick Harbor. Every time that guy on a 9 route, two guys on that guy. One over the top deep to prevent the deep ball, one underneath so he can't stop on the sideline and get a hit. And that is taking away, 75% of what made South Carolina competitive in that last game. This game is a weird game for me because Kentucky is not just a must-win game for the Gamecocks, but it is also in my opinion, kind of a back-to-basics game. It's kind of a back-to-basics of let's make sure our offensive line is blocking correctly. Let's make sure our running backs are A, getting, B, seeing, and C, hitting the holes in the run game. Let's make sure that if we are going to have Lenore Sellers drop back into the pass game, that he is protected correctly. Let's make sure that we understand what he is capable of doing in the pocket. One of the things, let's see what my biggest fear for Lenore Sellers is right now. My biggest fear for Lenore Sellers is that he has had it drilled into him that your job is throw first, escape the pocket and throw second, and run as a distant third. That's what I'm afraid of. Because have any of you seen a level of aggression in running the football from Lenore Sellers that matches what we saw begin to develop last year? I can't say that. I do not see when Lenore Sellers, the few times that he is running to escape a very rapidly deteriorating pocket, I have seen Lenore's running backwards more times than not. I'm still mad as hell that we have the ball first and goal on the 1, and the play call there is a 5-step drop back NFL-style pocket pass. What are we doing? But then when that happens and Lenore's takes the drop and he looks up and sees pressure, what does he do with the football? He keeps backpedaling. My man, put your foot in the ground and get to the outside. And if the pressure's coming from that way, hit the B button, spin to the other side. Use that talent. But the fact that he took, how many sacks did Lenore's not just sacks did he take in that game, but how many sacks did he take in that game against Missouri? Where the sack was because he started retreating straight backwards. Is that the best way to take advantage of Lenore Sellers' athleticism? Obviously not. But it became a trend in that football game. You ready for the scariest part of this? Mark Stoops may not have a great Kentucky defense like he has had in a few of the last few years, where he's had some dogs over there. But Mark Stoops is not an idiot. What are you doing defensively if you're Mark Stoops? How are you handling Lenore Sellers this weekend? Edge. Set the edge. Because Lenore Sellers has now shown me, whether it's he's been coached to do this or he has regressed to do this, when the edge is set, Lenore's is backing up. He's backpedaling. And then, if he's backpedaling, he's not throwing backwards. You know what made Lenore Sellers so dangerous that he got onto the national map last year? When he got to the outside and he was on the run, he still dropped darts. He could be on the run to the left and one of the few quarterbacks that could get the body turned around and deliver an accurate sideline throw. That's what put him on the map. The running and the athleticism, and then followed it up with the ability to make accurate passes on the sideline while getting outside. That's what made him dangerous. Now, when you have him playing as a pocket quarterback, and when you have created a world in which his response to pressure is to back up, to run backwards away from it, he's not the same passer trying to go backwards as he is when he gets right and left to the outside and is throwing on the run, not the retreat. If I'm Mark Stoops, set the edge. South Carolina's offensive line has not showed me that they are capable of maintaining the edge and leaving that as an escape route for Lenore Sellers. They haven't showed me that yet. And if they haven't showed me that yet, I'm going to attack that. And if I can get Lenore Sellers in retreat, I give myself an opportunity here. This is not just, and it is but not just a must-win game for South Carolina. You have created a game where it is must win, and you must win it by playing, I hate to use the word elementary level football, but you must win it by going back to the basics. You must win it by going basic run concepts until you get it going. Basic passing concepts until you get it going. And on defense, I don't even think the schemes are that bad. On one side of the football, on the offensive side of the football, I do think the scheme is hurting the team. I don't feel that way on defense. I think the schemes are fine for a team that lost all the talent. But if you can't tackle, Mizzou wasn't doing anything complicated. And it said, you can't stop this guy? We're going to keep giving it to him. If you can't tackle, there's nothing a coordinator can do about that. Well, I mean, there is. You could have coached tackling. I hope the defense did nothing but just tackling dummies all week long. But this is a back to the basics game. Get the run game right. Get Attaway going. Get Faison going. Get Lenore Sellers going in the run game. Defensively, just tackle, man. But to have a back to basics game in a must-win game, that's disappointing. That's more disappointing than the record, in my opinion. 844-326-3663. Your thoughts back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Quiet in the chat today. defensively to you South Carolina fans. Is there anything that I have said so far that is unfair, that is over the top, that is unacceptable? Is there anything I've said about your team that you think is inaccurate, is unfair, is incorrect?
Here's the thing. In years past, Vandy was your get-right game. Well, you got whooped by Vandy. The other game that's usually your get-right game is Kentucky. So if you can't get right against Kentucky, you ain't going to be right all year.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong about what you've been saying. And Kentucky knows that too.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I also know that Kentucky is a team that Kentucky's not the Kentucky that they were a couple of years ago when they had, I forget the kid's name. What was that running back they had a couple of years through that came through, and he had the spinner mouthpiece. Do you remember that kid?
I definitely remember, but I don't remember his name.
I'm blanking on that running back's name. It'll come to me at some point, but they had the kid and he had the mouthpiece, and it was one of the new one where they have a hole in it so that you can breathe through your mouth while keeping clamped down. And he put a rim spinner on the front of his. So when he breathed in and out, the spinner went off. It was freaking awesome. I don't know why I thought it was awesome. I should have thought it was lame. I thought it was great.
All right, according to AI, it doesn't mean it's real or not. Benny Schnell Jr. That sounds right.
I think that's it was Schnell. That's exactly who it is. Kentucky's had some good teams come through, but this is not.
Yeah, I'm seeing video with it. Yeah, it's definitely.
It was great. This is not that Kentucky team, and it's not a bad team. Let me be very clear that it is not a bad team right now, but it's not the same Kentucky team it was a couple of years ago when Mark Stoops had the balls to go after Shane Beamer. Remember all of that? I mean, I hope you do. It was 2-3 years ago. That was a better Kentucky team than what you see right now. And I would like to think, at least it is on paper, that this is a better South Carolina team, at least on paper, than that team was when you beat that Kentucky team, which was a better team. But this is still a team that is scoring 32 points a game. That's primarily because they put 48 up on Eastern Michigan. They put 24 on Toledo. They allowed 16 to Toledo. It's a winnable football game. The reason I've said it's must win is because partially, and again, yes, Kentucky has traditionally been a get-right game. I do not think, I'm not going to say there are no get-right games on the schedule anymore. Not just for South Carolina. I mean, anywhere. Again, Vanderbilt's a good football team now. Vanderbilt can beat. I'm going to obviously hit this with a big, theoretically, can beat anybody in the Southeastern Conference on their best day if they have their worst day. That is now a reality.
Don't you kind of want to see it? I mean, how historical it would be if Vandy were able to win the SEC.
If Clark Lee wins the Southeastern Conference at Vanderbilt, number one, Vandy better get every millionaire and billionaire they've got in the alumni base to pitch in to keep that guy. Number two, if Clark Lee wins the SEC at Vanderbilt, Lonzo, I was about to do one of those classic radio things where you say something very dumb and spur of the moment. Where if Clark Lee wins the SEC at Vanderbilt, I'll get a Vanderbilt tattoo. And then I stopped myself. You know why I stopped myself? Because I don't think it's as impossible as it sounds, gut reaction. The more I think about it.
Specifically, what tattoo would it have been?
I'd have probably gotten the V and anchor.
Okay.
I think that's a dope logo. I was about to say I will do that, but I'm not going to say that because I suspect if Vandy can find that one billionaire in the alumni database who pulls up and says, Clark Lee, I'll pay you Ryan Day's salary if you'll stay at Vandy. And he says yes, then it's all right. Put that aside. That's a long way off hypothetical. The point here is there's not really the disparity from the top to the bottom of the conference like there has been in years gone by. It's not there. But There are still teams that are very clearly towards the bottom, teams that are very clearly in the middle, and teams that are still very clearly at the top of the conference. How do I know that? Because the SEC pointed it out when they were doing their 3 annual rivals scheduling earlier this week. And they said competitive balance amongst the rivalries is very important to us. And you can go look at the rivals of any of the teams in the Southeastern Conference. And everybody has one from the top category, one from the middle category, and one from the bottom category. Some are stacked a little bit more difficult, like Auburn. Auburn got Alabama and Georgia. And then they got Mississippi State, who is pretty much in the middle, but like bottom of the middle, I guess. There is a top, a bottom, and a middle. Here's the fear that I have for you, South Carolina. If you lose this game to Kentucky, and just so that we are clear, South Carolina is, as of today, the cellar dweller of the Southeastern Conference. You are 0-2. Everybody else that has a loss is 0-1. There's a handful of 1-0s and one 2-0 team. It's Lane Kiffin and the Running Rebels, who beat Kentucky, by the way. Now, in fairness, Kentucky gave them a hell of a game. Texter just said Kentucky gave Ole Miss all they could handle. That's why I say this is not a gimme game. This is not a layup game. This is not a for granted win. You had better approach this game as if you are playing Alabama or Georgia, because Kentucky can get you, but they are one of those teams. And I believe this to be true to the same but a lesser extent about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt beats a good team when the good team makes mistakes, makes enough mistakes. Vanderbilt needs you to make fewer mistakes to beat you than Kentucky does right now. But if you make enough mistakes, Kentucky can beat you. Ole Miss was very close to that being a reality. Now, I would also point out that Ole Miss team was still very much trying to find their identity. Austin Simmons was still in the quarterback spot. Now they are starting. The rumor is, though Lane Kiffin hasn't confirmed it, even though Pat McAfee kind of blew it for him on the show the other day, the rumor is, and by the way, that unsurprising, I have zero doubt Lane Kiffin was going to keep Trinidad Chambliss as the starter, but he did not want Brian Kelly and Ole Miss to know that, which is why when Pat pointed it out on the show the other day, I think Lane was like, damn, dog, really? Really? You're going to tell him my nuclear option before we get there? What are we doing? Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Point is, Kentucky needs you to make some mistakes to beat you. Kentucky needs you to make some mistakes in order to take advantage of them. The problem is South Carolina has been making mistakes. You can be playing the best defense in college football. To go from 1st and goal on the 1 to 2nd and goal on the 23, that's because the offense blew it, dude. That's because the offense blew it. There is not a defense that should move any offense from 1st and goal to 2nd and goal on the 23. That's on you. When Ahmad Hardy is running, by the way, go watch the run game from Mizzou. It wasn't special. It wasn't foreign concepts. It wasn't unique concepts. It was off-guard ISO. It was off tackle, block down on the end. Let's see if a linebacker can get to the edge. It was nothing special or unique. They just went, our guys running through, over, around your guys. And if you're not going to stop him, we're not going to stop giving it to him. Kentucky needs you to make mistakes to beat them. The problem is South Carolina's been making mistakes, and you have been living and dying by Lenora Sellers' ability to throw it 50 yards in the air and find Nick Harbor down the sideline to come up with a circus catch and give you a couple of explosive chunk plays to keep your spirits up and drives alive. But you haven't got anything else going. This is a game where you cannot afford to live and die by the big play carrying you. It is a back to basics game. Figure out why the run game isn't working, fix it, and do that. Figure out why the pass game is not what you want it to be. Fix it, execute that. Again, I've said for 2 weeks now, going into the Missouri game, I said it, certainly since the Missouri game, not utilizing the full toolkit that Lenore Sellers puts on the bench, that's a fireable offense to me. I don't call for firings. I'm not calling for Mike Shula's firings. It's not me. It's not my style. It's not how I roll. But if we go through this Kentucky game, and damn sure if you lose it, if we get through this Kentucky game and I see Lenore Sellers taking snaps into 3-step drops, into 5-step drops, into 7-step drops so you can find the big play, and that is all I see out of the pass game, if I see a run game that is the same as it looked against Missouri, same as it looked against Vanderbilt, if I don't see, I'm not asking for drastic changes. I'm just asking you to do the things that you know can work with Lenore specifically. And I'm asking you with the run game, where can we get the chunks from? What run style is going to work for us? And if Faison's not the guy, give more to Attaway. And if Attaway's not the guy, give more to Faison. And if neither one of those is the guy, then either find somebody who is or start working out a run plan that gets away from what you have been doing and find what works for them. But I'm going to keep this one simple. Before we talk about Lenore Sellers, before we talk about Faison, before we talk about Attaway, before we talk about Harbor or anybody else, there is one group of guys and one group of guys alone that I am going to be locked in on this weekend. This offensive line has to be better. None of the other things that I have talked about matter. If the offense, there's a very good chance that Faison is a damn good running back, but he's just got no hole to hit. That Attaway can develop into a very good power option, but he just doesn't have the hole to hit. Maybe the belief is that Lenoris is being turned into a 3-5-step drop guy because they just don't believe that he has the time to stand, wait for a pocket or not pocket to develop and decide which way to go. But again, I can't believe that's the case with the long balls. That being said, the offensive line has to get better. It has to get better because the key is to open up the run game. I really believe this South Carolina offense opens up if they can run the ball, which they have not been able to do. But if that starts with the offensive line and the offensive line fails, nothing else matters. This is both a must-win game and a get back to basics game at the same time. All right, we're going to run to a break coming up. Water cooler cheat sheet. We're going to take a look at the top 3 sports stories you need to know. The Ryder Cup kicks off at 7:10. I'll give you some thoughts about this year's Ryder Cup. It's my favorite event in golf. I like it more than the Masters. Judge me. Then we will talk a little football later in the show. We got Rashad Beard coming by. We've got Denton Day coming by. We've got the boys from the Moving the Chains pod coming by, all stacked up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate now. A gentleman, I got nothing for a segue. I blew it, Lonzo. What do you want me to say nice about your Sports Flash?
It's going to be awesome, people.
It's going to be awesome. Lonzo Sports Flash.
There we go. I love that. Seattle Seahawks gave up a 14-point advantage in the third quarter, but hit a 52-yard field goal as time expired for a 23-20 win over Arizona last night. In the last minute, Sam Darnold hit Jackson Smith-Njigba from the Ohio State University for a 22-yard gain to set up the Jason Myers walk-off for the 8th consecutive win over the Cardinals. Sam Darnold threw for 242 yards and a touchdown in the win. Ryder Cup begins today at Bethpage Black in New York. 2-time U.S. champion Justin Thomas and Bryson DeChambeau will bat leadoff against Spaniard John Rahm and Englishman Terrell Hatton. 2 years ago, the Americans were swept in the opening foursomes. Not going to happen today, though. Lakers have extended the contract of head coach J.J. Redick Though terms were not disclosed, Redick led the Lakers to a 50-32 record last year, third in the West, and a first-round playoff loss to Minnesota. Our number 2 is next.
buddy. Tea?
I bumped my headset volume up when I put my headset on, and I was unaware how loud that was about to be. And that's okay. I needed a little adrenaline kick this morning.
It's not really loud. I wasn't trying to jump scare you. I could
No, not your fault. My fault. Hit the volume button, turned it up, wasn't paying attention. And that's cool because, we needed a little adrenaline spike. It's Friday morning. We're trying to catch the vibes this morning.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
And now we are about to, because Bryson and the boys are getting the crowd hyped to start the 2025 Ryder Cup in 9 minutes.
That can't be real.
Why?
Because the sun's out.
They're further east than us.
Okay.
They're
looks like the sun's been up a while.
They're in New York City. They're like further east than Charleston is, geographically speaking.
You sure this isn't AI?
Yes, it is. The whole Ryder Cup is AI.
I was just talking about the AI sky.
Yes, they AI'd it to be light outside. That's how far this whole thing has come.
It actually is possible for them to do that.
Boys and girls, the Ryder Cup is firing up here in about 9 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I will not be doing play-by-play of the Ryder Cup.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
For the record, I wouldn't care if it didn't. I just know I can't. However, what I can tell you is we will be checking in a lot. What I can tell you is I'm going to be watching that screen. You are going to see, if you join us on our live stream today at facebook.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate on Twitter, the Fan Upstate on YouTube, the Rob Brown Show on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. I interact. I'm going to, although the chat is shockingly quiet today, so I'm going to need y'all to jump in and participate a little bit here. I'm going to be paying attention, but you're going to see a whole lot of the side profile of Rob Brown today with the Ryder Cup going off here in about 12 minutes from right now. Let me line up the show for you. We got your water cooler cheat sheet coming up here in just a few minutes from now. In the next segment of the show, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Ryder Cup. It will be started at that point as we get Group 1 going out in about, we'll call it 12 minutes from right now. We'll also set up the other foursomes for the morning session and get you your schedule for the afternoon as we get 2 sessions of golf every day. Hell yeah. Then, in the final segment of this hour, we will start with our college football predictions, prognostications.
You said picks.
Yeah, I sure did say picks,
For
and I
sure
said it very clearly and without a single other letter accidentally in there. Anyone saying anything to the contrary is incorrect and lying.
Clean your ears out with some, tips or something. Q-tips.
Yes. To wrap up this hour, I have got 2, I think, big-time upsets on the board this weekend, and I will tell you what they are, as well as give you some of my other bold, hot takes for the college football weekend. Then, in the next hour of the show, we have got your NFL discussion. At 8:40 a.m., we have got Rashad Beard. At 9 o'clock a.m., we've got the boys from the Moving the Chains podcast to get you set up for the high school football weekend. At 9:20 a.m., Denton Day, who normally joins us on Wednesdays, he had an actual job to do on Wednesday, so we bumped him, and he was kind enough to move to today. We'll have Denton Day at 9:20. We'll run through all of his thoughts on college football, the host of College Football Overtime on Sirius XM. And then the final segment of the show today belongs to you. The Armada Audio Assault relegated to the final segment, but that means get it ready to rock. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:05 in the morning. You have 55 minutes until you've got to get in the office. And once you get in the office, let's keep it a buck with each other, shall we? Everybody's working for the weekend. Everybody's working for college football Saturday. There's actually a big-time game tonight. Florida State's on the road at Virginia this evening, and Virginia's better than a lot of people thought they were going to be. Tony Elliott is in the process of perhaps saving his job right now. That's a very interesting game. Florida State's first road test, and it's against a pretty good Virginia offense. But we got to at least make it to there. How do you do that? You kill time at the office. You kill time to make it to tonight for some college football. Tomorrow, all-day college football. Sunday, all-day NFL. We run it back on Monday. How do we kill that time? Talking sports. You got to know what's going on in sports. We're here for you with this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying, Friday, gotta get down on Friday. No. Here we go. Welcome to the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet on the Fan Upstate.
The water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your supervisor or your boss or your coworkers or the janitor or your IT guy or Bill, whoever it might be. This is what you'll be talking about. Item number 1. But Rob, I don't like golf. I don't care. This is a spectacular event. Remember how the 4 nations face off during the hockey all-star break this year? Remember how I said, hey, guys, this actually might be a pretty fun event. This actually might be a pretty cool little event that you might want to check out. And some of you went, I'm not a hockey guy, Rob. And I said, check it out anyway. Who knows? Maybe it'll grow on you. And remember how then that event kicked a whole bunch of ass for like a week and a half and it became the thing in sports that we were talking about? The Ryder Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, if I haven't introduced you, if you haven't been introduced, find a TV right now. I don't care if you've got to take the day off and go home. Find a TV and go turn it on USA right now. I'm even going to tell you what channel it's on. Because right now, Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas are making their way to the first hole, adorned in the Star-Spangled Banner.
America.
Coming out to join them from Team Europe, John Rahm and Terrell Hatton. This is fantastic because, yes, it's about the course. Bethpage Black is a big risk, big reward golf course. Who fits big risk, big reward better than Bryson DeChambeau? If Bryson DeChambeau comes out slapping this morning, there is an opportunity. This one could be threatened to be over by hole 10, 11, 12. But if Bryson is off even a little bit, that's 2 of the best in the game, and Rahm and Hatton on the other side. And if they are allowed to just play regular golf, not have to be aggressive over the top because Bryson DeChambeau is coming undone, you give yourself an opportunity to go get a dub. Last Ryder Cup 2 years ago, the Americans lost the morning session 4-0, Team Europe. We were never going to come back from that. That's why these first 4 matches are wildly important. Somebody can build a lead that allows you to just play golf the next 3 days and not have to try to do anything special. Some guys are going to try to do stuff special. The Ryder Cup's incredible. I have said it already. I get more pumped about the Ryder Cup than I get pumped about the Masters. And y'all know how much I love the Masters. Ryder Cup getting underway. We are just a minute or so away from the tee shots on hole number 1. Look how many freaking people are there, dude. Like it's packed. It is packed this morning, and I am jacked. But keep in mind, that's the grandstand. There are people lining the fairway for all 18 holes already to watch guys come through throughout the course of the day. This is going to be incredible. The energy is through the roof. This is a college football game, but golf. You know, every year we highlight the 18th at the Waste Management Open because that tournament is just a psychopathic college football atmosphere. That's what this is. I can't wait. Let's get to item number 2. It is the final weekend of the Major League Baseball regular season. Every team will play 3 games over the next 3 days. We will wrap it up with our playoff bracket being set on Sunday night. So, what are the standings going in? Here's where we stand. There is only one division in the American League that has been clinched so far. The Seattle Mariners were able to wrap up the AL West with a sweep of the Astros earlier this week. They needed just one more win. They got it. The Astros with 3 to play are 90 and 69. Nice. They are not just in front. They have clinched the AL West. The Houston Astros are still alive for a wild card spot, but as of right now, they are not clinched. The AL Central, the Detroit Tigers finally came off the schneid. They were on a 10-game losing streak. That included 3 to the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians were 15 and a half games back in this division 2 months ago. Those 2 teams are now tied with 3 games to play for the divisional lead. The Guardians and the Tigers both enter the weekend 86 and 73 after the Tigers took 2 of 3 from the Guardians. It is now a tied result. And in the AL East, everybody else in that division, by the way, the Royals, Twins, and White Sox all eliminated. The Rangers, A's, and Angels all eliminated. In the AL East, the Blue Jays and the Yankees will enter the weekend tied, both 91 and 68. All right, I'm not going to do play-by-play, but if Bryson DeChambeau, I don't think he's going to try to drive the green. In fact, he looks like he's playing a short. Oh, that's John Rahm. Okay, I looked up and I just saw short, stocky dude. John Rahm is trying to drive the dog leg and won't in the rough in the deep rough off the opening tee. So good start if Bryson can come up and do his thing, which if I'm Bryson DeChambeau now, I'm go get it. Like this, if you end up in the rough too, whatever, I will take a scramble out of the rough against John Rahm.
Why not play it
Drive
safe?
the green.
Why not play it safe? Because he's already in the rough. And if you,
this man's out here, like I said earlier, to set the energy on the course. This is one of those times where I am willing to take the punishment of being in the rough, because if he puts this on the green, that place comes unglued, and it will not be glued again for a very long time. All right, I'm going to get back to the baseball. I just have to watch this shot because this is a tournament-setting shot. Bryson absolutely hitting a bleep missile. Can he get it over the thick stuff? Where'd it end up? Is it on? I can't see from this freaking angle. Oh, no, he's on the fairway, but he's only like 10 yards short of the green. That's a great shot. That's what you want. Watch the crowd come electric when he starts walking up. This is going to be great. I can't wait. All right, back to baseball. I'll keep you up to date on the Ryder Cup.
They're hitting their own shots. It's not the
so it's a foursome. So one guy hits the drive, the next guy hits the next shot, and you alternate shots throughout the rest of the day. So now it is going to be alternating shots. That's why I said I think Bryson takes that first shot just to get him on. Now, just get me close and let's hit a birdie. Let's get a birdie. Let's let John Rahm and them scramble for a par. Let's get a birdie. Let's take a lead. All right, we'll come back to that. Baseball, because I got to run through this. All right, the Blue Jays and the Yankees enter the weekend in the AL East, tied, both teams alive in the division. The Red Sox at 87 and 72 are alive for a wild card. They cannot do anything better than a wild card, but they are alive for the wild card right now. So your division winners, only Seattle, Cleveland, and Detroit fighting for the Central, Toronto and New York fighting for the East. The Astros fighting for a wild card spot in the AL. Over in the NL, all 3 divisions are clinched going into the weekend. The Phillies won the AL East like a week and a half ago because the Mets are the Mets and the Braves suck this year. The Brewers have won the Central with a 96 and 63 record going into the weekend. The best record in baseball can only be held by the Milwaukee Brewers after this weekend, and they can win 99 games, but no more. Over in the NL West, the Dodgers have clinched the division with a 90 and 69 record entering the weekend. The Diamondbacks fell to third. The Padres, who were in contention, now cannot clinch. Scratch that. I take that back. I got this one wrong. The Dodgers have not clinched the division. Sorry. The Brewers have clinched the Central. The Dodgers have not clinched the West. They are 3 games up. They can flip with the Padres. The Padres have clinched the wild card, not the second place. The Padres have clinched a wild card. The Dodgers have clinched a playoff berth as it stands right now. So we will update you on that. The Dodgers did clinch the division. The Padres do have a wild card berth. The Brewers have clinched the Central. The Phillies, the East. Alive for the wild card right now, the Diamondbacks, the Cubs, and the Mets are fighting for the last wild card spot, and it will come down to Sunday. All right, blah, blah, blah. Enough of that. We'll come back and check in on the baseball schedule for the weekend. Let's get to item number 3. I have gone back and forth and up and down and round about what this should be. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of excited that there's really not much to focus on but sports. I mean, there's a lot of headlines out there. John Mateer announced that his surgery went well, expected to miss at least a month, may or may not be available around the time Oklahoma plays South Carolina. We'll see. Auburn putting out a statement. They're still mad about the non-call that a lot of Auburn fans believe cost them that game against Oklahoma not too long ago. Sorry, Zach is pointing out I did not mention your NL wildcard. The Cubs have clinched. I thought that I had made the standings there clear. That is my bad. The Cubs have clinched a wild card berth in the National League, and the Padres have clinched a spot, a wild card berth in the National League. The Reds, the Mets, and the Diamondbacks fighting for the last spot. All right. Thank you very much, Zach. I appreciate that. Wanted to get that clear. I'll keep it a buck. I just think it's Football Friday is item number 3. Like, I don't know. I look for some NASCAR news. Obviously, we'll get that over the weekend because we've got the round of 8 trying to get locked in. We have got a pretty good race this weekend, too. I may actually have to talk about that later on. We've got the Ryder Cup made it 1. We got baseball's weekend number 2. It's just a hashtag Friday football fiesta. So we're going to, starting out of the gate, talk a little Ryder Cup next. Then, in the long segment this hour, Zoe and I will give you our favorite games from the weekend, our most interesting games over the weekend, and start to look at some potential upsets because I've got 2 that I am trying to pick to be my upset entry into the wire-to-wire upset competition. We'll talk about those to wrap up the hour. We'll do some NFL in the 8 o'clock hour. Rashad Beard talking Panthers at 8:40. Moving the Chains podcast at 9, getting you set up for the high school football weekend. Denton Day talks college football at 9:20, and then we send you off into the weekend with whatever you want. That's a hell of a shot out of the rough for Terrell Hatton. Hell of a shot out of the rough. Ryder Cup next, the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate.
Matt World.
All right, guys, live read coming right back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. Bryson DeChambeau puts the boys up 1-1.
Winning.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm looking for. Bryson DeChambeau getting us started this AM. Tried to drive the green. Did come up about 10 yards short, but on the fairway out of the gate. So puts Tyrrell Hatton and John Rahm down one early. Like, this is the start you have to have if you are the Americans. You are well aware of what happens when Team Europe gets a good jump. I brought this up earlier. They won the opening day last Ryder Cup 4-0. Sorry, the opening segment. You get 4 points available in the morning. You got 4 points available for you in the afternoon. They lost 0-4. And what happens in that spot, it's to put it in football terms, it's kind of like if you came out and you let a team, and this would be wild. Like, say if your NFL team, and I can't imagine a team would do this. Say your NFL team came out and let the other team score 21 points in the first quarter. Like, how crazy, that'd be impossible. And basically what it would do is create a world where your offense now has to go chase the game. So you can't run your running back, who is known for his ability to extend plays and extend the clock, because you don't need to do that. You've got to chase. And that would be bad, especially if you had like a second-year guy who hasn't won a game as a rookie, and you're making him go chase the game, especially like if you were on the road in the Northwest or something. That would be a weird, dumb, bad thing for an NFL team to do. That's why you can't do that here. That's what the Saints did against Seattle. I'm just openly hating on my own team, okay? Catch you up there.
Who that? Who that said they're gonna beat them Saints?
Bleeping everybody.
Who that?
It's like the least exciting who dat of all time. And it's Ricky Saints, buddy of the show, WWE soon-to-be superstar.
No, actually, it wasn't.
That wasn't Ricky?
No.
Who was that?
It was, I forget who it was.
Oh, okay.
No,
Whatever.
there was several different people where I.
Who cares?
that
Doesn't
from.
matter. Point is, just like
No, Ricky would have been. I mean, come on.
just like the answer to who dat, it's just a lot of people. So that's the start that you have to have. And the shot for me, the called shot for me was, you send out Bryson DeChambeau as a vibes guy out of the gate. You are hitting the opening tee shot for Team USA. You are going to set Justin Thomas up to be successful with shot two, and that's exactly what they did. Didn't get to the green on one, but he got it in the fairway about 10 yards short, and you could feel the gas coming off. So what you have done now is the folks who are in the grandstand, the folks who are lining the fairway on one, the folks who are around the green on one, who comes out at 7:26 a.m.? The best golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler. You send out the world number one next. He's up against Ludwig Aberg and Matt Fitzpatrick. Now, that is, of the four that are going out in the morning for Team Europe, that's the weakest four. And this actually, I kind of like that strategy from Team Europe, in that Aberg and Fitzpatrick are two guys we've got to have out there, but of the ones they are sending out, that is arguably the weakest four. So let's send out Aberg and Fitzpatrick against the best that they have in Scottie Scheffler. And Russell Henley's not amongst the best, but he's partnered with Scottie Scheffler to play with him and off of him. The crowd is going to be hype for Scottie Scheffler, who is not a hype provider, right? Like, we've seen Scottie Scheffler. The most dramatic he gets is sometimes he'll do 10% of a Tiger Woods fist pump. I love Scottie Scheffler and watching him play, but that's because I love golf. If you don't love golf, Scottie Scheffler is the most boring golfer on the world, with the exception of he just kicks everybody's ass all the time. 6 wins this year, one of 4 guys to do that. Tiger, Nick, Arnie, Scottie. So the crowd is now buzzing because of what Bryson and Justin Thomas just did, to not just get the birdie and go one up. And the other part, we didn't even talk about this. John Rahm knew Bryson DeChambeau was going for the green. So John Rahm went for the green. John Rahm came up way short, way off in the rough, created a world with Tyrrell Hatton's second shot, which was a stellar second shot, but it set him up for a long putt for birdie, missed it, par. They knew what Bryson DeChambeau was going to do. They telegraphed that. And that's okay as long as you pull it off. And I think that's where this was a good strategy. Now you send out the world's best, but also most boring golfer in Scottie Scheffler, Scotty just needs to go out there and let the crowd carry itself. Let the crowd carry the crowd by just playing Scotty Scheffler golf. You don't need anything more than that. I love the start. I also think it is important that that Bryson and Justin stay now consistent, because if you drop either one of these first two, I do think we probably are a little bit less talented than Team Europe and the back two. I'm not saying you got to go 2-0. I am saying you can't end up at 3-1. It'd be nice to finish this day with a tie, but that is going to largely be up to what the first two groups do. I do think we have to go undefeated through two out of the gate. All right. This is, again, Bethpage Black is a very interesting course in that it is very much a high risk, high reward golf course. And you saw that again on that very first tee. Bryson DeChambeau went for the green. And you will see other guys throughout the course of the tournament go for the green, but like he's the one that you feel pretty good about his chances to get there. And I turned it a little bit left. It ended up on the fairway, 10 yards shy, whatever. But that is still a risk because that fairway in the run up to the green is not exceptionally wide. It's not a wide, and it is running it is running perpendicular to the direction that you are facing, right? So when you are looking at the fairway approaching the green, moving left to right in front of you to the green off to the right. So it's a very narrow landing area if you don't make it to the green. If you go for that area, which is a little closer than the green, right? So it's a little easier distance-wise, but if you go for that spot, you have got to have that thing punch and stop. Because if it takes off running, or if you over-roll it backwards and it ends up in the rough, that rough's ankle deep. Like they have got it very similar to the setup that we had at the U.S. Open. Very similar to some of the rough at the Masters when you're talking about the deep fringe well to the outside. So it is a high-risk, high-reward golf course. And from what I've seen, I have not looked up all 18, but the pin position today has kind of been set up for what feels like it would be a championship Saturday event, in that there's a lot of spots where they are on a hill. And there you go. There's a perfect example. John Rahm just threw a dart to try to go pin high and roll it back. He overspun it, and he just ended up landing 10 yards past the hole and spinning 15 back behind it now. So again, high risk in that if he hits that shot well, he's looking at a 5, 6, 7 foot putt for Team Europe for a birdie. Bryson didn't go for a big adventurous approach shot on number 2. Now, let me just get it up there on the dance floor as close as I can. Nothing adventurous. And just like that, Team USA now in an excellent position to potentially go grab back-to-back birdies. And assuming that Tyrrell Hatton can't knock down a 20-some-odd foot birdie putt here, very good chance Team USA could go up 2-0 after 2. And that would be because on hole 1, they played the high-risk shot. They got a big reward. Hole number 2, they play it safe, and they make Team Europe play up risky. They don't get the risk, or they don't knock it down. So now they may be in a tough spot here. So listen, I love this tournament. I've said it a few times. I'll say it one more, and then we're going to run to a break so we give ourselves a few extra minutes in our college football talk in the next segment. I like this tournament more than I like the Masters. I just do. It is more, I am a dude that I love the Masters. The Masters, the wife and I throw a Masters party every year. I'm in the lottery every year to win Masters tickets, and you'll know when I do, because I will not be here at all Masters week. I will be in Augusta, Georgia. Haven't won them yet. Highlight bucket list item for me. Number 1 is go to Augusta. Augusta's about the course. This is about the golfers. This is about the guys that are playing. This is about them interacting with the crowd, interacting with each other, interacting with the clubs. This is great. This is a head-to-head golf tournament played with a tailgate party atmosphere around it. I mean, there's dudes in American flag overall jumpsuits losing their mind while Scotty Scheffler's trying to hit up out of the rough after Henley put the drive into the thick stuff. Ugh. I love it. All right, I'll keep you up to date with this tournament as it develops. Scotty Scheffler coming out of the sticks from about $148 away, and dart on the green, but left it a little bit short, so it's going to be a tough putt for a birdie. All right, college football when we come back. I got 2 major upsets I want to run by you, see if I can get you on board for either one of them. And then we'll take out the other big games around the college football atmosphere. That's next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Oh, that's a good putt, Terrell. Hatton just went about a 30-footer, left it about 4 inches right. That's a great putt. Yes, this tournament, William Brady, that is exactly the take. At the end of the day, I don't know that I could sum it up any better than that. The tournament's just fun. It's just fun. It's what sports should be. Oh, God. Back to 1, and Fitzpatrick, I think it was Fitzpatrick, just freaking dart from the fairway. Team USA may be giving that 1-hole lead back here. All right, Justin Thomas for a birdie to win the hole. Sitting about 10 feet out. I'm not going to play-by-play this whole tournament for you guys, but I'm locked in. But I'm locked in right now.
You still have done like every single one.
Pushed it. Come on, Justin, you're better. Or was that Jackson last night? The ref giving him the side eye?
Yeah. Oh, that was some serious side eye. That
was angry dad.
Yeah,
side eye.
That's a especially because he's on the mic and he's live and I guess on Prime it doesn't matter. I don't know. Admittedly, I didn't watch it.
I actually went to halftime. I went to bed at halftime of the game last night. I got up and watched highlights of the second half.
I had never intended to watch this game because it did not interest me at all. I've been
turned out to be one of the best games of the season.
I've been skipping wrestling to watch football on Monday nights. I didn't watch wrestling last night either. I did watch this morning a little bit though, but no, I watched Peacemaker and oh boy, we definitely will be spoiling tomorrow. The speculation was correct, and what a great episode, or a rough episode. Marvel Zombies, just going to tell you right now, disappointed in the ending.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean,
so College Game Day announced yesterday that. And I think they're working under an assumption that I don't think is safe here. But they announced that next week they'll be back in Tallahassee for FSU Miami. Top 10 matchup, assuming Florida State wins tonight against Virginia.
Who's Miami at?
I think Miami on the bye this week. But this is the first time that Game Day has been back in Miami since Florida State got left out, and Kirk Herbstreit was the crusade leader of leaving Florida State out for ESPN. I genuinely wonder what Florida State fans are going to do to Kirk Herbstreit. I think they're going to boo him every time he opens his mouth. Yeah, Miami's idle this week.
That's not unusual. I mean,
not like this. Not like it will be next Saturday. College football getting fired up this evening. We've got a handful of games on a Friday night. ECU knocking off Army last night, 28-6, got us started. Today, we head to Charlottesville, Virginia. That is where Florida State, number 8 in the country, is headed to take on Tony Elliott and his Virginia Cavaliers. This game is getting us started in what I think is a very interesting way, because I think Virginia is playing, I don't even want to say like a desperate team. I think they're playing like a team that, to some degree, just believes in itself. This team is averaging, and again, ain't played nobody, Paul. But at the same time, that's not true. They played NC State and they lost to NC State. They are 3-1. But the other three teams they played, Coastal, William and Mary, and Stanford, 48-7, 55-16, 48-20. They lost to NC State by 4. And that was during the 1.5 weeks where we were like, oh, maybe Dave Doran's job is safe. Turns out maybe it's not. We'll come back around to that. But that game starts us off at 7 o'clock tonight. Florida State, for the record, only favored by 6.5 on the road. Obviously, 3 goes to Virginia for playing at the Crib. This is a touchdown game, according to Las Vegas, Nevada. This is a game that I think Clemson fans, to some degree, have to be interested in. And I think that is because this is a game I am not going to say will answer the question, but I think it points us in the direction of, is Florida State for real? Because if Florida State is for real, this has got to be a team that they go put away by a couple of touchdowns on the road. It is a Virginia team that is, again, averaging 49.5 points per game, only giving up 20 points per game. This is a team that has got a very interesting pass rush effort. They have thrown 146 passes. They have rushed 169 times. It's relatively balanced with a bit of lean over to the run. Florida State's defense against Kent State had a couple of spots where they looked a little shaky. One of the things that I took away from that game was Florida State is very aggressive against the run. They see run, they bite. Kent State had a couple of spots where some play action and some misdirection out of the run game got Florida State a bit out of sorts. Was that a discipline issue? Is that a defensive issue? Or was that just a matter of, we're playing the Kent State Golden Flashes, boys, pin the ears back and let's go get them, right? Let's get a little aggression going. I don't know. But again, it's a good Virginia team. It's not a great Virginia team. They are in the national conversation, depending on where you want to look at them. They're hanging out around 30th, 40th in offensive efficiency. It's not a bad team. Florida State should still win this game, though. I'm going to take FSU with the cover. TCU is at Arizona State. You ready for funsies in this game? I've told you a couple of times, I'm very interested in the TCU Horny Frogs this year. I like this team. Arizona State's favored in this game, but it's by 3.5. It's at the Crib. This is the definition of a pick'em right now. Arizona State, depending on where you look, I've seen them at 3.5. If you want them on the money line, they're minus 165, which feels a little off for a 3.5 point game, but hey, whatever, I'll take it. Arizona State at the Crib taking on TCU tonight. And I mean it when I say this actually may be one of the better games this weekend. Arizona State, who has one loss, it was on the road at Mississippi State. Contentious game, I'll say, in week number 2. They lost by 4. TCU, undefeated at 3-0. They currently sit tied for second in the Big 12, but that's because this is their first Big 12 football game. They got the opening week win over North Carolina. Now, in fairness, I based a lot of my I'm interested in the Horny Toads about that win over North Carolina. Turns out North Carolina stinks. So that 48-14 win, not impressive, just not as impressive as it looked like it would be. But they put 42 on Abilene Christian, and remember, they beat SMU. They are the team that made everybody start to question SMU. On the flip side for Arizona State, another team that statistically speaking, this is a squad that can throw it around the football field behind Sam Levin. Assuming that they are hitting the stride now and not walking it back, this is a team that can throw it around the football field. They're only averaging 30 points a game, which is well under what I expected for what this quarterback wide receiver room duo should be. But they're also a team that is averaging 6 yards per play on offense. That tells me they're dinking and dunking. They're slowing the game down when they can and where they need to. I got a lot of respect for that. This Arizona State team is good. This TCU team is good. I find that matchup very interesting tonight as well. Looking at some of tomorrow's big matchups, we open it up with some slappers at noon. USC at Illinois. What the hell do we make of this game?
I don't know. The fact that slappers, I'm thinking knee slappers.
Slap us.
Yeah, and it's
Bang.
just like you sound
Banger after banger after banger.
After banger. I don't know where I am with this USC Trojan team yet. On one hand, they've dropped points bombs on everybody they've tried to dump points bombs on. 73 on Missouri State, 59 on Georgia Southern. On the other hand, they played 2 games against teams that I think are, with all due respect to my football Lord and Savior Drew Brees, the Boilermakers of Purdue, 33-17. That should have been a blowout if USC is back. Michigan State, 45-31. Closer than I'd like, but they're rivalry games. Well, they're conference games. USC, by the way, top of the Big Ten right now, only because they played 2 conference games and everybody else that has a win has only played 1. But is this the question? Are the Trojans back? And I think this game goes a long way into making me feel confident in agreeing. I actually like this team. I like what they are in terms of their offensive output.
What happened to Illinois last week?
They lost by 53 to Indiana, Bob.
So
not great, Bob.
So what's this going to prove? I mean, if USC comes out and struggles, I guess it proves that maybe they're a little overrated.
Well, careful.
Does Illinois? How does Illinois bounce back from that beatdown?
Is a part of the equation.
Yeah.
How good is Indiana really? Is a part of that equation. Is, again, transitive property of football being what it is. Got to be careful about it. Can't give too much away. I don't want to say, as DeChambeau and Thomas rally through 3, they'll stay up 1 over Rom and Hatton. I don't want to say that because X beat Y and Y beat Z, this is the intended result. What I am going to say about this game is that the loss from Illinois last week, I genuinely put credit for that on Indiana. I don't think Illinois is as good as a lot of people sold them to be preseason. And I'm also going to.
Yeah, but wait a minute. They were and still are ranked. How could they not be good?
I'm not saying they're not good. I'm saying they're not as good as I was told they are good at the beginning of the season. I don't think they're as good as everybody said they were. Oh, this is going to be a team that is hanging around the top 10. Maybe they work their way into the top. I don't think they're a top 5 football team. I think they're a good football team. I don't have a question about them anymore. I think that they are a team that is going to hang out around 20, 21, 22, somewhere in that area. USC, I genuinely don't know yet. And regardless, I mean, unless they just do to Illinois what Indiana did to Illinois, I don't know that we're going to get our answer this week either. Because if they go run Indiana or Illinois, then we are going to ask the question, okay, is Illinois just that bad? Is USC closer to Indiana? And it turns out they're both really good. I don't know what the answer to that is. But I am going to pick USC. Jacob just popped in and said Illinois is my upset pick this week. I feel like they're going to be looking to bounce back in a big way. The late subs are going to be at an all-time high. I agree with you. But if you're going to go with, I picked this team because they look to, you don't think Lincoln Riley and the Trojans are kind of trying to do the same thing? Like take us seriously, right? Keep in mind, this is a team that started the season 3-0. Where were they ranked when they were 3-0, Lonzo? Behind an 0-2 Notre Dame team. If you want to talk about a team that's got some gosh darned motivation, USC's got every bit of it. We went 3-0 out of the gate, beat everyone, including a conference game, 3-0 out of the gate, and you ranked us behind an 0-2 Notre Dame team? I don't think that motivation puts one team over the other. They are at home, though. Notre Dame is at Arkansas. Am I right? Am I right for thinking that this is a Jeremiah Love special? Notre Dame broke Jeremiah Love out last week. Remember after the game against Miami, we came in here on Monday. We said, what in the Blue Hades happened to Notre Dame? Aside from the fact that they're always a little bit overrated to start the year. I said, what in the hell happened to Notre Dame? And I said, Jeremiah Love. The dude is one of the best running backs in college football. And you let him touch the ball. How many times did he run the ball in that game? Like 7? They disappeared from the offense. He was invisible in that game. They came back against Texas A&M. They worked in the ball a little bit more. The problem is they got into a shootout with A&M. And defensively, Notre Dame looked awful. Then in game 3, they kind of started to put it together a little bit. Granted, not exactly against a juggernaut in game number 3 for the Fighting Irish, but they did put 56 up on Purdue. Here's the problem. They let Purdue score 30. I don't think that Arkansas is a great football team. I don't really think they're a good football team. They are 2-2. I think this is a football team that can score points, though. They put up 52-56, 35 in a loss to Ole Miss, and 31 in a loss on the road at Memphis, who now looks like they are far and away clearly the best group of 5 team. A lot of football left, but Memphis right now is the group of 5 driver for a playoff spot. They put up 31 in a loss on the road at a tough Memphis team. Arkansas is pretty good. I've gone back and forth on this game. Notre Dame favored by 4.5. I think I'm going to take the Arkansas cover in this game because I think they can get into a shootout. And unless Notre Dame has figured something out with their defense, Arkansas is going to score points. I think this could be a very dramatic who has the ball last kind of games, which I know that's kind of a football cliche and I stay away from, but I really think that's where we are.
You're not going to pull the trigger that Arkansas could upset Notre Dame?
No, I think Arkansas can upset Notre Dame. I think it is going to be up to Notre Dame's defense in this one. I think it is going to be up to Notre Dame's defense. If the Irish defense have figured it out, gotten embarrassed, whatever, you let 30, the win over Purdue, good to get back on the winning side of things, but it's Purdue, and you let them score 30. If Purdue can score 30, Arkansas can score 35, 38. Arkansas can get into that window. And if Arkansas can get into that window, they can absolutely beat Notre Dame. Here's my question. What is the reaction if Arkansas does beat Notre Dame? Oh, man. That reaction is going to be nothing shy of hysterical.
I think the real question is, would Notre Dame still be ranked?
No, you can't do it after that.
Really?
Yeah.
They were 0-2, right?
Yes, but they were 0-2 to 2 teams that were inside the top 25. Like I'm not saying it was right. I'm saying the rationale behind Notre Dame being ranked at 0-2 was they had the unquestionably hardest first 2 games of anybody in America. And both games were close, right? They didn't get blown out in either game. They were both nail-biter late fourth quarter games, and they stayed alive. So that's why they are giving him that's why they gave Notre Dame, some level of credit by keeping them at 24 inside the top 25. The Purdue win allows you to stay there. You lose to Arkansas. Notre Dame is not just done. Notre Dame loses to Arkansas. Maybe a playoff killer for them. Maybe because it's an unranked loss.
What do you mean maybe?
Well, they could still end at 9-3. And as Denton Day and I have both projected, I think there will be a 9-3 team in the field this year. If there's a 9-3 team in the field, I've been saying over and over what? If there's 9-3, they're from the SEC. I'm going to amend that. If they're 9-3, they're from the SEC or RND. I made it rhyme too. Damn, I'm good at this.
Wow, you didn't realize you were doing that? I mean,
no, I was putting it together in my head, but I had to get to the cadence. It's all about the cadence.
That wasn't your projected goal.
They're 9-3 from the SEC, or they are named MD. There it is. There's your cadence to it and everything.
Way to go, Eminem.
All right, so this would, I think, the only way Notre Dame can be 9-3 into the playoffs, however, is if all three losses are to ranked teams. I think that this would be an absolute killer for that team. Could be wrong. Probably not, though. All right, here's what we are. We got time to do one or two more before we bounce up out of here. We have got also, and of course, I closed out my list of games because I thought I was going to break there. Well, I might as well. Let's see. What else? I want to you know what? I want to finish out the noon slate. I'm very good. I just did all that. I got caught up in the 9-3 from the SEC, or they are named ND. I got caught up in that. My bad. Duke minus 4.5 at Syracuse. Am I going to go deep into this game? Not really. Duke favored on the road at Syracuse the week after Syracuse beat the Clemson Tigers is very interesting. I think the Orange is going to be buzzing. I might take Cuse on the upset there over Duke, a team I want to believe in, but I just haven't seen anything to believe in yet.
Yeah, I think you got to go Syracuse there.
I do too.
I mean, coming off of what they did last week.
Unless you think they're just gassed. Did they leave everything in Clemson? It's only been a week. Louisville at Pitt, Cincinnati at Kansas. That pretty much wraps up your noon slate. We've got in the 3:30 window, a handful of top 25 teams in action. Here's what we'll do. When we come back, I have got a few clips. We're not going to do a full audio blitz for you. I do have a couple I want to get to you. We'll do some audio blitz. Then we will run through in the second segment of the next hour, our biggest games from the 3:30 in the night window in college football. Rashad Beard joins us in under an hour to talk Panther football. We'll set you up for the road game at the Patriots. We will have the boys from the Moving the Chains pod at 9 o'clock to set you up for the Friday Night Lights high school schedule. And then at 9:20, Denton Day, host of Sirius XM on college football Overtime, will join us. We'll break his thoughts down on the college football weekend. End of the show belongs to you. All of that coming up after a 5-star, if they ranked him, would hold on to the number 1 spot from wire to wire. Lonzo Sports Flash.
Way to go. I mean, not only did you hype me up, but you mentioned the afternoon show. Way to go, you. The Seattle Seahawks gave up 14-point advantage in the third quarter, but hit a 52-yard field goal as time expired for a 23-20 win over Arizona last night. In the last minute, Sam Darnold hit Jackson Smith-Njigba from The Ohio State University for a 22-yard gain to set up the Jason Myers walk-off for the 8th consecutive win over the Cardinals. Sam Darnold threw for 242 yards and a touchdown in the win. Not bad for a supposedly washed-up player. The Ryder Cup begins today at Bethpage Black in New York. 2-time U.S. champion Justin Thomas and Bryson DeChambeau will bat leadoff against Spaniard John Rahm and Englishman Terrell Hatton. 2 years ago, the Americans were swept in the open foursomes. I don't know why I'm still reading that because it's going on, but they're doing good. The LA Lakers have extended the contract of head coach J.J. Redick. Though terms were not disclosed, Redick led the Lakers to a 50-32 record.
I got to grab a couple more audio bites. Stay right there. 844-326-3663. You can also hit us up on social media. Tweet me on the tweeters. You can drop me a line on Facebook if you like. You can check me out on the gram at The Rob Brown Show across all of them. All of the social media at The Rob Brown Show. Would love to earn and retain your follow on social media. Make sure you hit us up there. Lonzo's on Twitter at Lonzo Onward, WORD. Here's what we got for you coming up the rest of the show. Going to get you some audio here from over the last 24 hours in the Audio Blitz. Next segment, we will continue to run through our college football schedule and make some picks. I have got 2 big games I'm thinking about. I haven't hit myself. I've got myself real close. Walked right up to the edge of going on upset alert. However, I've walked right up to the edge of 2 previous upsets so far this year and didn't call either one of them, and I'm real mad about it. So we'll see. Maybe I'll just push myself over the ledge. We'll talk some upsets potentially this weekend.
Help with that?
No, but the
not from me. I mean, there's
energy with which you said that is disturbing.
No, I was going to find somebody who would, because I would never. I would pull you back from your plain white T-shirt, grab by the scruff of the neck, and pull you back from the edge.
It's a metaphor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, big metaphor. I'm fine, everybody. Sometimes. So, we got that.
How can
we
you
got
be
that
fine with the mustache?
Rashad Beard coming up at 8:40 this morning. We'll get his thoughts on last week's win for the Carolina Panthers and if they can bring that same energy against the Patriots on the road in Foxborough, Massachusetts this weekend. 9 o'clock, Moving the Chains boys. Going to stop by, set you up for the Friday football high school weekend, and then Denton Day.
You said boys. Do we know? Are we getting multiples, or are we just getting Kevin?
You know, I got to say, I'm going to say if they run us with just one of them this week, I'm just going to assume that they think they've outgrown the Rob Brown Show, and that's fine. That's okay.
Or they're boycotting Kevin.
I mean, Kevin's the only one that showed up last week.
Yeah, I know, but see, they haven't been on with it.
If Jarrell and John show up today and no Kevin, then we'll have drama.
We go.
Then we start to sip the tea. That's at 9 o'clock. 9:20 a.m. Denton Day is the host of SiriusXM's College Football Overtime. He will join us at 9:20, give us his thoughts for the weekend. It is going to be a day. Let's get some audio in here. We had a very interesting day yesterday with audio. I'll start with this one. We talked a little bit about it. It is, ladies and gentlemen, Ryder Cup Friday. Why am I excited about the Ryder Cup? Well, I would tell you, or I can let European team captain Luke Donald lay it out.
It is not about prize money or world ranking points. It's about pride. It's about representing your flag, your shirt, and the legacy you leave behind. We play for our families, our teammates, our countries, our continent, and for the generations before us who made this event what it is today. The American team is rightly proud of their heritage, but so are we. Our European legacy is rooted in resilience, in togetherness, and in proving people wrong. Time and again, we've shown that when we come together as one with a shared purpose, we can achieve remarkable things.
Yeah, let's go. That is the hype up speech for Team Europe. And now I'm like, let's go beat that ass, boys.
Wow. That's, I mean, that sounds more like concession speech. You come here to get your butt whipped. That's what you're going to do.
Do you listen? Or did you just hear a British accent and go 1776? Ah, because that's what I feel like happened.
It's us against them, right?
Yes.
So I'm not gonna, oh, fine speech, my good man. It's just wonderful. I love every second of it. No.
Are you a chimney sweep? Is that your default British? Is like,
yeah, Cockney. I got
okay.
to get Cockney.
All right, just making sure that's what I was hearing there.
Listen. If I were born in England, I would be born in the poor part of England. So I mean, I'm just kind of, so I definitely would have a Cockney accent.
All automatic balls and strikes coming to Major League Baseball starting next year. I'm gassed about it. I'm really excited about it. At the end of the show yesterday, I said there is something. I don't care. Boo all you want. It's happening. And it's going to happen on the 2 challenge system moving forward. Eventually, it will eventually become fully automated, but we'll worry about that. I'm just happy for what I can get where I can get it. I said yesterday, one of the things I'm very interested in is the way teams are going to handle their 2 challenges. Is this going to be only vets can challenge? Is it going to be reserved for only pitchers? We want to save those 2 challenges for pitchers to use. Only batters can choose. Like, how do you decide? Because remember, coaches don't call them. Only pitchers, batters, catchers can call them. Well, yesterday on the Foul Territory podcast, we had a couple of former players who jumped in and talked about it. AJ Przinsky and Eric Kratz.
What do I think will happen? I think it'll make umpires lock in for 9 innings. If there's still challenges on the board, I think sometimes when you get late into games and the games get out of hand, sometimes umpires open up the strike zone a little bit, try to get games moving. And I also think it's going to be fascinating to see who's allowed to challenge and who's not. Most teams that I've talked to about it say they don't want pitchers challenging. It's mostly catchers and hitters, but do you have your 9-hole hitter challenging when it could cost Aaron Judge or Juan Soto a pitch later in the game?
Coming from the 9-hole hitter, you better be right. It better be an egregious mistake. The reason it's a 52%, I think, was the challenges is because they're 50-50 pitches. Very few umpires are missing regularly pitches that are this far off or this far on. It's the borderline pitches, and so it's a 50-50 pitch. I think it's great because it eliminates those massively huge mistakes. We got to keep the game moving a little bit. It's an 8-run game. Is it going to lengthen those games? Are we going to have more offense because the ball's now on the plate? We'll see.
What do I think?
The challenge system averaged about less than 30 seconds per challenge. So if you have 10 challenges in a game, you have lengthened the game by 5 minutes. So I don't want to hear that argument again. If you're going to sit through a baseball game, 5 more minutes ain't going to kill you. All right. Second off, we don't have a lot of umpires that are regular. And he did like this, like regularly missing by that much. No, we don't. But we have umpires who are regularly missing by that much. And those are the umpires that pitchers love or batters love because it's this. And no, if it's a strike, it's a strike. And if it's a ball, it's a ball. I don't understand how this is that complicated. This is good. And being on a challenge system, all of you who like wrong calls, I'm sorry, the human element, you're still in control of 90% of the game. But now the people like me who go, that's an egregious call, and CB Buckner should be embarrassed for having made it. Now he gets to be embarrassed for having made it.
Yeah, but just like challenges in the NFL, knowing when to make that challenge is going to be very difficult. And then because if officiating is as bad as you say it is in baseball, after you make the challenge and let's say it fails and you don't get one back, and then something comes up that's egregious, you can't do anything.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Like if you're the 9-hole hitter, you're the guy at the bottom of the lineup, and you're up there, and let's say you've got you're in the 5th. You got your leadoff. You got Juan Soto coming up next. What happens if you blow the challenge? And then what happens if he gets called out on an outside pitch and you don't have the challenge? Like, this is going to be very interesting.
And don't you also have to deal with the rest of the team being mad at you? Like, why'd you do that
That's part of it.
Including the coaching staff, since you said that they cannot be involved. They're still going to be mad at you for doing something stupid.
Yeah, that's part of it. If you're the 9-hole hitter, you're the worst hitter in the lineup, and you call a challenge because you think you got rung up on an outside ball and you lose it, and now you can't do that later. Again, like, there may be some coaches who go to the 9-hole batter and go, you do not challenge anything. I don't care if you are called out by a ball that is 10 miles outside of the zone. You do not challenge anything.
I think because of that, there's going to be a reluctance to use it.
That's part of the reason they only gave him 2. All right, we'll come back to that because I do like that discussion. Let me get a couple more in here. Let's go with... Man, I'm back and forth because I'm running out of time here. All right, let's go with this one. Mike Allstott. You remember Mike Allstott? Mike Allstott was Cam Scatterboo, but like an actual football
thing that Boomer used to do.
Mike Allstott was a dog. There was only one problem with Mike Allstott. He played in my division.
Yeah, he was a linebacker playing fullback for sure.
He got asked yesterday, how come they ain't no more fullbacks?
There's really never been a modern fullback. I don't want to pigeonhole you. I mean, there are a couple of years you had 200 carries. You were more than just a fullback. You were a tailback as well.
Right.
Why isn't there a modern fullback in the Hall of Fame?
Good question. I don't know how to answer that. 90% of the league doesn't use it, right? They rather go to the H-back and move the tight end across and do stuff like that, whatever. But all I can say is I was blessed to play in the era I did. I don't know if I'd be playing football in this era, right? Seems like a lot of people want to go to the more scat back type of situation nowadays. I don't know. It's a good question. I just hope someday that I'm able to represent my family and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and stand at their podium.
You know, I thought about this a lot last night. Why aren't there like classic fullbacks anymore? And doesn't it feel like at this point it would be beneficial to have a classic fullback? And I've got a couple of thoughts, and I don't know if any of them are accurate or not. One is D linemen are bigger than hell now, right? Like this is interesting too. This leads me to this thought. Tampa Bay just re-signed. You remember the kid Tampa Bay signed from Florida? The 400-plus pounder.
It's a really large individual,
yeah,
yes.
and I'm blanking on his name right now, and I apologize for that. But he's north of 400 pounds.
We'll remember his name when he plays.
Yeah, they just signed him back to the team. Remember, they cut him going in. They basically said, you got to lose weight to practice. You can't practice. You can't get signed. They didn't sign him, but they said, if you lose the weight, like, we'll bring you back. They just brought him back. Who's Tampa play this weekend? Philadelphia, the Tush Pushers.
Oh, I thought he was just on the practice squad. Are you?
Oh, no, he is right now.
Okay.
But they can elevate him.
All right.
What happens if Tampa Bay goes, surprise, and they stick a 450-pounder at the nose tackle in front of the Eagles' D lineman and put 2 linebackers on his ass?
I don't know. It depends on how quick he is out of his stance or falling forward. I mean.
You can get a jump on 450. That don't make it easy to move. Don't make it easy to move. We'll see. I'm interested. Maybe they kind of sneak one up on us there. We will find out. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know why there aren't fullbacks anymore. I think one is, like, there's big guys across the D-line. Number 2, linebackers are stronger than they were when Mike Allstott was playing too. I don't think you can do stronger than Allstott, but I think linebackers and D-linemen are bigger and stronger than they were when he played.
Fullbacks classically were not like Allstott. They were just there to block, just like tight ends were back in the day. So, I mean, you don't want a guy in there who can't catch the ball and do other things like that, because all these other backs that have replaced the fullback, they can do that.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, let's get 1 or 2 more in here. Deion Sanders was asked, do you get mad, especially when you're winning, when Colorado fans leave the stadium earlier?
You would love that to happen. Because when they're leaving, what does that mean?
Game's out of hand.
That means the game is over. They going to party. I'm cool with that. They're right down the corner. On what street is that down there? No, not Pearl Street. On the hill. That's where they at.
Yeah.
It's cool. I know where they at. So I don't mind them emptying. You got to understand it was family weekend as well.
Sure.
So a lot of the older family members probably said, okay, let's go home, honey. And they wanted to get out of there. But we're winning. That means we're winning. I don't mind that.
Deion says, I don't care if we're winning the game. I don't care if you leave early and go get your party on. I don't care. If it's out of hand and you're leaving early, go get your party on. On one hand, I'm a member of the 000 Club. On the other hand, that's pretty cool of Deion to be like, look, dude, we get it.
All I can say is if Rob were there, he'd be up on that hill.
I don't know what the hill is or where the hill is. I don't know what the hill, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'd be up in the middle, Raisin Hill, if I got the opportunity. I actually really do want to go to a game at Boulder. I'm not going to lie. Like, all the commentary, all the talk, I kind of want to go to a game at Colorado.
Unless you want contact. You got to figure out where to sit to not, because he's also said the stadium smells like weed all the time. I mean, we'll see. All right. I got a few more things I want to get to later on in the show, but I actually want to revise something, because we're going to talk to Denton Day in a little over an hour and get his thoughts on college football. I had a thought last night because I came across a clip of a CBS talking head who was having a conversation about a coach. And as he was talking about this coach, all I heard was him talking about Dabo. And I went, is this perhaps a preview of things to come? And I don't know the answer to that. So I'm going to play you the audio. I'm going to give you my reaction to it, which is I could bleep the name and you could assume he's talking about Dabo, which I'm going to do next when we come back. I'm Rob. He's the great Walonzo. We got that conversation. Then we got Rashad Beard talking Panthers. Then we got Moving the Chains talking high school. Then we got Denton Day talking college football. Then we end the show with our picks, predictions, previews, and prognostications for the weekend. All of that on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. don't know, man. I'm seeing a lot of missed opportunities up there.
Yeah. So yesterday was getting ready to do the show today. And I flip around and listen to a lot of different takes from a lot of different people about a lot of different things. And I kind of form my opinions based on their opinions. Why not? Sports media. So, damn, John Rahm just stuck that thing. He was in, knee-high, whatever that crap's called, weeds.
He was out in the jungle.
Yeah.
That's some pretty tall.
Had to hit through a runway of people.
It's like what your yard looks like when you don't cut it for a while.
No, it's what your yard looks like when you don't cut it for a while.
I didn't mean you specifically.
What a dart. Beautiful shot. Up and over a hill over some bunkers. All right, I'll come back to that. Team Europe leads into Team USA leads into Rahm and Hatton down to DeChambeau and Thomas through 5. Auberg and Fitzpatrick up on Scheffler and Henley, though Henley is here to hit a birdie and tie the hole. He will miss it. So now Auberg and Fitzpatrick up 2 on Scheffler and Henley. If Scotty Scheffler's the one guy that loses today, that would be wild. McIlroy and Fleetwood through 3, up 1 on Morikawa and English, and McIntyre and Hovland trail Schauffele and Cantlay by 1 through 2. So we'll update you on the leaderboard a little bit more in the next hour. But blah, blah, blah. Was listening yesterday to some college football discussion. And we talked about Dabo yesterday on the show. And I asked Clemson fans the question, is it fair or unfair to say Dabo Swinney is a great motivator, a great recruiter, but not a good coach? And he's been carried by having great coordinators. Now, a lot of Clemson fans took that as offensive. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be. The evaluation and placement of the right people in the right jobs at the right time, that's a skill in and of itself. That is a difficult thing to get right, and a difficult thing to get right and then retain and keep those people. Dabo Swinney did it for a long time, but the problem is he hasn't gotten it right since then, if you believe that is the theory. So I said, is it fair to say that maybe Dabo Swinney is not just not a great coach? Great motivator, great recruiter, and that's part of coaching. But in 2025, you have got to be complete and well-rounded. Acquisition, retainment, development, and on-field execution. And we're not executing right now if you're the Clemson Tigers. I don't think anybody can say you are. So Mike Gundy got fired earlier this week. And Richard Johnson, who is a talking head on CBS, had a take on Mike Gundy. Now, you may not agree, but I want you to listen to this argument. And every time that he says Mike Gundy, I would like you to replace it with Dabo Swinney. And every time he says Oklahoma State, I would like you to replace it with Clemson. And I would like you to hear this argument, replacing Gundy with Swinney and replacing Clemson with Oklahoma State, and tell me that if I would have bleeped out every name and every school name, you wouldn't have been able to at least think this was about Dabo Swinney.
This is not like it happened to him. It is not like Mike Gundy is not an agent in his own demise, because he is. It is the unwillingness to adapt and the fierce resistance, personally, that Mike Gundy had to adapt. You can dislike NIL, you can dislike rev share, you can dislike having to deal with players and agents and parents who want money and kids who have the handout. That's all well and good. Your personal opinion is fine. Where it's not fine is when you have to lead a program to win football games at a high level. When that is the nature of things, it doesn't matter what you think about NIL. It doesn't matter what you think about players being paid. It doesn't matter what you think about rev share. If you want to win at the level Oklahoma State has been accustomed to under Mike Gundy, you have to play ball a certain way financially. He refused to do it, and he didn't do it until it was way too late. And now you saw that the magic ran out.
So the two thoughts I had about that are, number one, if I replaced every time he said Mike Gundy with Dabo Swinney, and I replaced every time he said Oklahoma State with Clemson, you could very much convince me he was having a conversation about Dabo Swinney.
Yeah, I just can't buy that, because Dabo and Clemson have won a couple of championships. So,
well,
I mean.
That goes into second point.
Okay.
Because I do think what you have to do in order to make that work is you have to look relative to programs. Oklahoma State was under Mike Gundy a couple of years back, the best Oklahoma State's ever been. They're not, at least not, maybe they could have during like the end of the T-Boone Pickens days. I don't think Oklahoma State, sitting right there in the middle of Texas, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, whatever. I'm not saying they'll never be championship material, but it's going to be a hill to climb. This is one of the things that I've said about the ability to retain coaches for a school like a South Carolina. You at least are kind of only bordered on the West. Like to the East, it's pretty much wide open recruiting for you. A team like Oklahoma State, Oklahoma's there, Texas is there, Texas A&M is there, SMU is there, TCU is there. Like all these other schools are right there in your recruit. It's going to be hard to win there. And it's especially going to be hard to win if you take these other tools, NIL, the portal, whatever, off the table. And while it probably wasn't broadcasted as much because of the fact that Oklahoma State's not a blue blood powerhouse like Clemson developed itself into under Dabo Swinney, Oklahoma State did hit its pinnacle on the football field under Mike Gundy. And clearly, Mike Gundy was not in favor of the things that Dabo Swinney is not particularly in favor of. And my biggest fear, I'm not saying that this is an inevitable conclusion, but my biggest fear is if what is happening at Clemson is not evolved, is not adapted, is not moved forward to the 2025, or hell, at this point, 2026 football season, if it is not evolved to where football is going, not where you want it to be. This is kind of one of those times where you have to look and say, life's not fair. You may think that this is the way it should be, it was, and you have two choices. You evolve or you die. So, my biggest fear is that much like Mike Gundy, I've got a dear friend of mine who is an Okie State Cowboy fan, played baseball there. And I texted him the day that Mike Gundy got fired. And I said, "You okay, bud?" And he was like, And I went back, I said, I kind of assumed Mike Gundy had a lifetime contract. And he goes, "We all thought he did too, but it got real bad, man. We got real bad." And considering you're now at the point where every time that you fail to get better in a year, other teams are passing you up because they are. He said, "I thought Mike Gundy was going to be a lifer as well, but it just got bad. The recruiting tanked off. We weren't getting guys. We're losing to Tulsa. With all due respect to Tulsa, you can't lose. If you're a Power 4 team, you can't lose to Tulsa. He lost to Tulsa." So the thought that I had is the absolute worst case scenario, if nothing changes, and don't start with me about the recruiting and all that, because DJ Uiagalelei was going to be the next Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback for Clemson. And then Cade Klubnik was going to be the next Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback for Clemson. You're 0 for 2 in those two guys. 0 for 2. So don't hit me with, well, don't worry, Rob, Chris Vizina is going to be the next Heisman winning quarterback at Clemson, because the last two guys were going to be that too. And it ain't worked. So my fear for you, Clemson fans, and again, Dabo lifer, absolutely. Understand it. Got no problem with you calling him that. But what if he's Mike Gundy? What if he's Mike Gundy? You say we reached our zenith, and granted, our zenith was higher than Oklahoma State's. It's higher than most schools ever are. We reached our zenith. We won 2 natties, played for 4, won a pair of them, and Dabo Swinney earned a contract for life. What happens if, despite the calls to modernize, and I'm not even just talking transfer portal and NIL, because I'm talking about your offense. I'm talking about your offense. I'm talking about the boring, the predictable, the uninspiring, the vanilla, why did you pay Garrett Riley all that money to just run the same offense that you ran the last couple of years? If that doesn't evolve, modernize, adapt to modern college football, I am terrified for you that in 8, 9, 10 years, you're Oklahoma State and Dabo's Mike Gundy. And they go, we thought he was a lifer. We thought he'd be around forever. But at the end of the day, he just wouldn't adapt. He just wouldn't change it up. I heard 2 days ago there was a college show down in Gainesville. There was a college football show I was listening to down in Gainesville. They are going through it emotionally down there. And one of the hosts said to the other host, you know what we should do? We should get on the horn. We should call up Dabo Swinney. He's clearly unhappy. We should call up Dabo Swinney and say, come on down to Florida. And the other host goes, why would we do that? Why would we do that? Is Dabo going to come here and modernize what we have going on? Like, he's going to fix it? They have problems just like us. That's where you want to go? You want to get rid of our 1-3 coach to hire a 1-3 coach because he won championships a half a decade ago? That's what you want to do? And the other guy went, oh, okay, good. They went back and forth. That's my fear.
Wow.
That's my fear.
Wow.
Texture says, whatever wild scenarios you come up with won't change the fact that Dabo isn't leaving Clemson and will not fire him. Let it go, Rob. I'm not saying they will or won't. But Oklahoma State said that about Mike Gundy. When Mike Gundy had that team winning 8-4, 9-3, a couple of 10-2 type seasons. They said the same thing.
This more puts me in mind of Bobby Bowden than anybody, right?
That's also fair.
I mean, a legend for a long time, but eventually had to go. Yeah.
And for the record, I am, and this is a true story, I am still, unless they've changed it without telling me, I am banned from participating in Panama City, Florida State Seminole Booster Club meetings. Now, I went to Booster Club meetings for the Gators, for the Tide, for the War Eagles, for the Seminoles, everybody that was in the Panhandle. When I was doing my show down there, they would have me come out and like talk or MC events or whatever. I went to a Florida State one time towards the end of the Bobby Bowden era, and they said, Rob, what do we need to do to get back on top? And I said, you're not going to like me, but you have to fire Bobby Bowden. The game is, it's not just the game has passed him by. It passed him by years ago. And it's just a hanger on now. He's not even really running the team. Your coordinators are, but he's still trying to micromanage them while they try to coach this team. You have to move on from Bobby Bowden if you ever want to be good again. And they were not happy. I got run up out of that booster club, was never invited back. And then they fired him, and then they got Jimbo Fisher, and they ended up, again, years later, but again, won a national championship. So he ain't Bobby Bowden. As he pointed out the other day, he's only 55. He ain't an old grandpa just yet. But at the same time, it is very clear that a modernization of the program is required. And if he's unwilling to do it, the worst case scenario for Clemson is that Dabo becomes Mike Gundy and you become Oklahoma State. And 5-10 years from now, you're going, how'd we fall off this bad? We'll see. All right, your thoughts, Clemson fans, 844-326-3663. When we come back, Rashad Beard is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. Still tied at 2 matches apiece. DeChambeau and Thomas up on John Rahm and Terrell Hatton. Scheffler and Henley trail by 3. How is Scotty Scheffler 3 in the hole? Not a great start.
Because he's not in the hole, probably.
Good. What is happening up here? All right, we're tied at 2. The Americans up 1-1. The Europeans up 3-2.
What, did they find a spider or something?
No, it's they are trying to determine, like, do they get relief? See how it's up on the stick?
Oh, okay.
Do we get hazard relief and all that? Right. Golf's dumb, and also I love it. Rashad Beard next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
It's not even on the stick.
Desmond Watson, that's his name.
Got an inch.
No, it comes across this way too.
Did it? Okay.
It's like in the crook. So that if they move it, if they move the stick and the ball moves, it's a penalty. They would add a stroke. So this could, like, that is determined hole. So now they're playing Jenga, or they're going to see if they can get relief from that. But I don't think they can, because I think you can only get relief. He just stepped on that stick and it moved that stick. In the ball, but he got lucky the ball didn't move. Oh, this is great. Yeah, there you go. This is tough. Can y'all hear me over this?
No, I can hear you when I go out. I mean, come on. Did you really ask if we could hear you over him? Really?
I would like to point out and hope that it does not change anything that over the course of the last couple of segments, Lonzo has progressively paid more and more attention to shot-by-shot coverage of the Ryder Cup. I think I got him. He doesn't know it yet.
You
I
don't
think I've
have
got the hook
me.
set.
Listen. I am just trying to help you. I'm being a good teammate here, in case you didn't see it, so I can point it out.
Ryder Cup underway at Bethpage Black in New York, but that's not what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. It is our
Save
hashtag
us, Rashad.
Friday Football Fiesta. And if you are a Carolina Panther fan, it may have felt like a party this week because Rashad Beard, not only did the boys get dub number 1, but they put belt to ass with a 30-0 shutout over Atlanta. Let's make the easy one easy out of the gate, buddy. How we doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. What a great W. The Panther Nation needed that performance from our Carolina Panthers. So I'm happy. Hopefully it was something we can build on moving forward.
That is a game. You came in as a dog. Atlanta was, I think, kind of feeling themselves just a little bit. Rashad, it's not just a win. It's not even just a big win. To pitch the shutout like that from a team that I've been saying for a while, offense is probably going to, in some spots, have to maybe put up points to carry a defense that's still kind of growing and developing. What a friggin' showing from the boys on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I think this is something that the defense has been building to. Over the past couple of games, even you look at the Arizona Cardinals game, I said after that game that the defense did enough to win that game. The defense turned the football over, and the defense did a wonderful job again against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons did not even get past our 30-yard line, which is very, very impressive. They put Michael Penix in a blender. He didn't know what he was looking at. He looked amateur out there. Shout out to Evero, man. Evero and those guys did a great job game planning. The defense did a wonderful job executing. And I'm happy. So I know there's been a lot of criticism about Evero and the defense over the past couple of years, and rightfully so. But the defense is coming along, and I think we all said it, right? Getting Derrick Brown back, and some of the additions that we had in the offseason. Trevon Merrick. I mean, these guys are playing really good football. So I'm proud. Every time I get on this show, I really want to hype up the defense because they were getting dragged so bad. So they're playing well. They deserve a little bit of credit here.
All right. Really quick. I mean, I get what you're saying about the defense, but we know who the true victor is. We know who the coaching staff remembered they had a running game and discovered that Rico Dowdle he's a pretty good running back. I know Chuba's good too, but Rico Dowdle.
Oh yeah, so I agree with you. Rico looked really impressive, very aggressive running the football. I left that game saying I want to see more, and it's a great problem to have when you have Chuba and Rico. It's going to be a tough once it gets going, and I know it's a little bit tough for us because we did lose a couple of offensive linemen, specifically Robert Hunt. Robert Hunt is going to be gone probably until close to the end of the season. He was our road grader, and so we have to find out a way to still run the football. We got a challenge coming up next week, but I definitely agree with you, Zoe. I left that game saying I need to see more Rico, and it's just a great problem to have. And I agree. We have to run the football more for sure.
I got a chance before the season started to do an interview with Rico Dowdle. I mean, I was talking like a day after he signed up with the Panthers. And when I talked to that cat and asked him, like, what are you trying to accomplish here? What is your goal? He kind of gave the pretty standard answer, Rashad, of, I want to fit in the team where my role is, and I want to be the best at that or whatever. But, man, in talking with this dude before and after the interview, you could tell, like, there was a desire to prove. And I don't know if it was to prove to Dallas that they bleeped up or prove to Carolina that they made the right call or prove that because the dude's had a history of injuries dating to his time down here in South Carolina, prove that he is that guy that everybody thought he might be before the knees started acting up on him. He's a hard guy not to root for, Rashad. And if he can stack games like this one together, all of a sudden you guys end up with, holy crap, maybe that's a pretty good 1-2 punch between he and Chuba.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you said, Rico had a 1,000-yard season with the Cowboys last year, and the only reason why Rico is here is because of injury to Jonathan Brooks, who we are missing. And so I don't know if Rico's going to be here long term. Obviously, we're not going to pay 2 running backs, but he is a short-term patch, and it's a good one to have. And again, we're going to have to see what happens with him moving forward, but I am interested to see Jonathan Brooks when he comes back. So again, just this is how you build a roster. This is successful roster building by the Carolina Panthers when you have guys to step up. So I'm happy with Dan Morgan and what they did to fix that running back room after Jonathan Brooks went down.
Totally agree. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I don't want to get into this because it makes me sad, Rashad, but I also think we have to. I saw the locker room interview with Xavier Legette. First off, I saw XL on the bench after a McMillan catch when he came and sat down, and he looked like he was just going through it. And then I saw the interview, I think Sheena Quick and some of the other reporters there, and they're just asking him, like, where are you? Is it mental, physical? How you get? And the dude just looks defeated, Rashad. Like, he looks beaten. I don't know what to make of this scenario. I hope he figures it out, but I'm not seeing anything right now that makes me think he can or will.
Yeah, I agree. That was one of the toughest interviews. I mean, from a guy that seems so jovial and happy all the time, that was not a good interview to watch. I mean, he seemed, like you said, he did seem defeated. He seemed perturbed, and the people that are, kind of close to him, when you talk about guys like Steve Smith Sr. that know him, it's all up here, right? It's all mental. And so I'm hoping he can get over the hump. All guys have to go through this, whether it's sooner rather than later, that you got to get over that hump. So, I mean, he's talented, man. He's built like a tank. He's fast. He's got to get his hands right. But I think we got to develop. Obviously, with him being a first round pick, it's only year 2. We can't give up on him for sure. But it'd be great to see him kind of get over this hump, and what better week than week 4 against the Patriots. I don't know what else to say. I know he's dealing with the hamstring injury right now, but I definitely want to see him get it together for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. We're obviously all fans here, but yeah, that one was painful to watch. Let's turn our attention to New England. This team is very interesting because they take the L to Pittsburgh last week, Rashad Beer, but they also had like 5 turnovers in this game. Ramondre Stevenson was fun, but like this team couldn't hang on to the football, which you have to assume becomes their point of emphasis coming into this game is protect the ball. We can't do that again. What is your take on the Carolina defense that shut out Atlanta last week? Can they bring that same energy against New England this week? Are we taking a step up in challenge level? Will we see them respond to it?
Yeah, I think definitely taking a little bit of step up. May is a gunslinger. They're doing really well in the pass offense. So we're gonna have to tighten up. And again, I don't think the Patriots have seen a secondary like the Carolina. I can't even believe I'm saying that. But I don't believe that Drake May and company have seen a secondary like the Carolina Panthers. J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, one of the best tandems in football right now. That's statistically. Our pass defense is really good. You got Trevon Merrick in the secondary, in the safety position. So I think it's going to be a challenge for them. I think we have to continue to stop the run, and we have to be better. We have to be better. And again, Ramondre Stevenson they have a bunch of turnovers last game. They've continued to turn the football over. Drake Mays even turned the football over. We have been advantageous in turning the football over. I can't believe I'm saying that. I think we're like top 2 in takeaways right now. I can't even believe this interview is happening and me giving all the praise to this defense. I'm serious. Like they are doing a wonderful job. And at this point, and I know we're talking about the defense and giving them a lot of praise. At this point, I think the question lies in the offense, because yes, we put up 30, but defense put up some points too. And so we have to turn the page to the offense and see if Bryce Young can score in the red zone and we can get the run game going consistently and not abandon it, and et cetera. So I'm not as concerned with the defense. My concern is more so on the offense side of football.
I think it is fair. That was a takeaway I had as well. Now, granted, kind of rough to say my questions about the offense when they went out there and hung 30 on the Birds this past weekend, but I would also point out that Atlanta, kind of like you guys, like good defensive backfield, kind of growing across the front 7 and finding themselves a little bit. You got Mike Vrabel's New England Patriots this weekend. You know what they do. They're going to stack the box many times. They're going to bring some exotic looks and try to get BY out of sorts a little bit. What'd you see in that 30-point put up last week that you think needs to be expanded on against New England's defense?
Yeah, I think that they have some injuries in the secondary. You got Christian Gonzalez who's probably coming back from injury. So their secondary is going to take a little bit of a step up. They do have a very, very good run defense statistically. Now, I also say this, I don't think they've seen a run game like ours with Rico and Chuba. So I think it'll be a little bit of a challenge. I think it's strength versus strength, their run defense versus hopefully our run offense. But I think we have to continue to run the football. Bryce has to continue to get rid of the football quick. And you've got to attack vertically. We have to get T-Mac going. T-Mac, now he's dealing with some dropsies. Of course, we expect that from a rookie. We've got to get him to consistently catch the football, 2 hands preferably. He's going with the cute one hands oftentimes. Let's put 2 hands on the football and see if we can bring some of those down. But catching the football, I think Bryce has got to get a little bit more accurate in some cases. He's throwing the football behind. I've seen, maybe him and Hunter Renfrow not quite on the same page in some instances, but I think we're getting there. I think the offense is coming along. And again, they're moving the football. Just continue to run the football. Do not abandon the run. I think that's the biggest thing I want to see them do is not abandon the run, even when it's tough, right? Even when it's not working, you have got to consistently wear that defense down. So run the football, take what the defense is giving you, and attack when you can.
Prediction?
Prediction, man. I'm tough because I have no expectations, right? I don't want to set myself up to say, oh, this is going to be great. We played so well last week, and it's going to translate to this week. I'm kind of taking it week to week, but I think it's a winnable game. I don't necessarily have a score, but I go Panthers dub.
I respect it. Panthers on the road at the Patriots. It's a big one. We're going to talk more about it later on in the show. Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can find him on X at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, take it on over to YouTube. Search, subscribe, hit the bell. They're live all the time. Great point from Buddha real quick. How you feel about Jimmy Horn working into the rotation a little bit here?
Yeah, I think Jimmy's got from the word on the street. Jimmy got a little ways to go from a physicality standpoint. I think he's got to get bigger, contribute, find a way to contribute on special teams. But yeah, I think it's gonna take some time. I know we were excited about seeing him, but I think it's gonna take some time for him to get on the field.
Fair enough. That's a good answer. I respect it. Rashad, my guy, enjoy the weekend. I hope you're back complimenting the defense again next week. What a weird thing to happen here on the show.
Yeah, I would love more compliments for the defense, for sure.
Rashad Beard, Panther Nation podcast. Follow them on YouTube. Big dog, appreciate it. Talk to you next week, brother.
Appreciate you guys.
Always. Rashad is a legend. Appreciate him pulling up every single Friday to talk Panther football with us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Up. So we got to run to a break. When we come back, we talk more football, high school football this time, as the fellows from the Moving the Chains podcast joins us. We are suddenly getting our asses whipped all of a sudden, just like that,
He's talking about golf. He's not talking about high school football.
Ryder Cup, yes.
Yeah, because he was talking high school football, and then
Scotty Scheffler's 3 down through 7. That's not the start we wanted, kids. Moving the Chains next. Sports Flash. Make me feel better, Alonzo.
The Seattle Seahawks gave up I can't do it, sorry, 14-point advantage in the third quarter, but hit a 52-yard field goal as time expired for a 23-20 win over Arizona last night. In the last minute, Sam Darnold hit Jackson Smith in Jigma from The Ohio State University for a 22-yard gain to set up the Jason Myers walk-off for the 8th consecutive win over the Cardinals. Sam Darnold threw for 242 yards and a touchdown to win. The LA Lakers have extended the contract of head coach J.J. Redick. Though terms were not disclosed, Redick led the Lakers to a 50-32 record last year, 3rd in the West, and first-round playoff loss to Minnesota. The final weekend of MLB's regular season is upon us, with playoff spots and seeding on the line. So far, the Seattle Mariners have clinched the AL West, with the Blue Jays and Yankees tied for the AL East, and Boston 3 games back, and Cleveland and Detroit tied in the Central, with all other teams eliminated. Hour number 4 coming up next. Got to get the boys from Moving the Chains on. Be back in a moment.
The hashtag Friday Football Fiesta is underway.
Thank God it's.
Come on, give me one.
Thank God it's.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, there's Fridays, there's football Fridays, and then there's hashtag Friday Football Fiestas like today. And joining us now, and I don't know if he's joining us alone. I don't know if the boys are showing up. I don't know what's going to happen here. I guess we'll find out. I got to tell you, Jarrell Hendricks, they tell me, and by they, I mean every football coach I've ever talked with, they say it's all about consistency. It's all about showing up. It's about executing. It's about doing it consistently and getting it right. Kevin showed up by himself last week. I didn't know who was showing up. And now you rolling solo this week. What is going on over at Moving the Chains HQ right now?
You know, right now we got a lot of going ons, with work. So that's what's happening here. You know, we're stressed out, got things going on there, but that does not stop us from bringing excellent high school football coverage to people in the upstate and across the state of South Carolina. So it may not be all three of us all the time, but we're going to make sure that at least one of us shows up, and we never let you guys down when it comes to talking about high school football in the Palmetto State.
All right, hold on. This is heading for a triple threat cage match. I think that's what we're getting here, because they're not all on together. There's some animosity. The only way to work that out is in a cage.
Well, I think that would be great. We should do a cage match. You know, we do have our scuffles. We're family, but there's nothing that's going to break this team apart. Never going to happen.
I respect that, Jarrell. I also know where and how Kevin works, so I call bull crap on the whole thing.
No. Kevin has obligation. Kevin's also going to be burning up the road tonight, so he's going to be heading to the lower part of the state to provide some great coverage for those people. So.
Okay.
Well, he can't be golfing. It's raining outside.
Not today. He's actually doing some work today, so yeah.
MovingChains.com. That is the website that you can find the boys at. You can also find them across all of social media at Moving Chains. No G in that. That's not just Southern twang. There actually is not a G in Moving Chains. And, of course, the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever major podcasts are found. Jarrell Hendricks joining us here, the representative, the lone representative of the Moving the Chains podcast, joining us here on the show. My brother, let's jump right in with our list of football contest for the evening. And, of course, we'll start, as we normally do, with a game you will hear right here on the Fan of State. The lovely, dare I say beautiful, Cole Bryson on the call, play-by-play. The Dorman Cavaliers on the road at the Burns Rebels at Nixon Field. Tell me about it, Jarrell.
And I do. Let's stop there. I want to give a shout out to Cole and his crew there. Man, they do a fantastic job each and every week. Sounding great over the airwaves. But this should be a fantastic ball game over there at Nixon Field. I mean, this is a pivotal game in that vaunted Region 2 of 5A there with Dorman and Burns. Man, I went back and forth all week during our show on who to pick for this one. I mean, it's going to be littered with talent on both sides of the ball, as both of these, supporters of these teams know. Dorman comes in. They're going to want to run the football, play great defense. That's just their calling card. Coach Morris wants to do that. They're led by Nick Means on the ground. He's really getting it done. And Contavian Polo Anderson on the back end will be playing at Clemson next year if they can keep it together. Had a huge win against Riverside last week to kick off their region campaign. And the Burns Rebels, of course, we know they're led by Chew Harris, Trey Segura, and Jacoby Fuller. Just dynamic playmakers there. Kane Rogers is the one that makes it go. And then that defensive line with Justice Hopkins, they really want to get after it. Also 3-1. Started off well with their win over Wade Hampton to kick off region play. I like Burns at home. That environment at Nixon Field is something special, the new Nixon Field. So if you're able to get over there and catch this one, should be a slobber knocker, should I say, guys. But I like the Rebs to win this one.
Do we have, John, and this is something that I could have looked at myself, but I didn't. Do we have any rain concerns in the air. We're looking out the window, and it's a crap day. I know it's supposed to kind of be lingering in some spots. Is this a game that could be impacted by that? And if it turns into a rain game, who would have an edge in it then?
I would go Dorman. I think it flips to Dorman in the run game. I think, I love how they are set up in the trenches. We saw Burns earlier this year against Irmo, and there was some, concerns. Obviously, they broke some big plays in that game with Chu and Trey, but and even Jacoby had a kick return in that game that we were at. So I think in the trenches, I like Dorman a little bit better if this one is impacted by rain. But to win overall, I think Burns is the more talented team. I love to give teams that home field advantage, and that's something special over there in Duncan, and I like the Rebels to win it.
Fair enough. Let's get on to some of the other contests around the upstate with Jarrell Hendricks from the Moving the Chains pod. Let's go to Gaffney at Spartanburg.
Yeah, like this one as well. Another, just really, really pivotal matchup there in Region 2. Gaffney, they've kind of been working through some adversity all year. Finally settled their quarterback situation. Javon Gilmore, I feel bad for the kid. He has, transferred, moved on, decommitted from Arkansas this week. But they have turned to Banks Boughton, who transferred in from Greenville High, as their quarterback there. They've dealt with a ton of injuries. Obviously, the coaching change there. But Gaffney sitting at 2-2, had a nice win last week. Finally got the offense going against Woodland Springs. But Spartanburg is also battle-tested. They have some tough losses to kick off the season against Northwestern and Dutch Fort, also sitting at 2-2. Played a slugfest against a really, really improved Eastside bunch. They're led by Trenton Lynch on the ground. They want to get after it, running the football as well. Don't ask the QB to do too much. Want to play some good defense. I like Spartanburg to win this game, and I think Spartanburg needs to win this game to kind of separate themselves and, bounce away from those slow starts that they've been having over the years.
Seneca on the road at Daniel.
Another good one. Very, very vital. Another one for Seneca. Getting over this Daniel hump is going to be tough, but I think this is the year that they're able to do it. Seneca sitting at 5-0, haven't played the toughest of competition, while Daniel is 3-1, and they are battle tested. But this does not look like the same Daniel team that we're accustomed to seeing. Had to come back, huge comeback in the fourth quarter against Clinton last week. But they're led by Trey Wembley, Jace Grass, so they get it done on offense there. The defense for Daniel doesn't look as dominant as they have in years past, but I love this Seneca offense. Jeremiah Hunter, the sophomore receiver there, over 100 yards a game, 8 touchdowns receiving so far, and Amari Varner, over 107 yards on the ground per game this year. I think the Bobcats go into Singleton and win this one.
Let's go to Woodruff at Wren High School. I got a lot of respect for what Wren does down there, dude. That's just a gritty little school, and I love it.
I love it too, man. Wren is one of the better environments too. We usually get to see them, once a year, once every other year, and they do it right. They also do a great broadcast. So if you're not able to make it over there, check out their broadcast on YouTube. This is a fun one. You got a 3A matchup against 4A here. I like the Wolverines in this one. They have not skipped a beat. Love their running back, Aiden Gibson. They really get it done on offense there. Wren really needs to win this game, but I like Woodruff to take care of it.
All right, let's run through some of the other games around the upstate with Jarrell Hendricks from the Moving the Chains pod. JL Man coming to visit our neck of the woods, taking on Greenville on the road.
Honestly, don't think this is going to be the best game. I think Greenville handles this one, but I wanted to highlight it because these two schools do Spirit Week better than anybody that I know. Raise, over $1 million usually for charities for the upstate. So that's why I wanted to highlight this game here, more so for the fan bases, the communities, and what these guys do, as a collective group to bring awareness to the upstate. But I think the Red Raiders take this game.
Okay, so real quick, 30 seconds. Tell me about this, because when I was playing high school ball, and granted, this was a very long time ago, Jarrell, shut up. Nobody asked you. When I was playing my high school ball, Spirit Week for us was hey, wear pajamas to school on Rivalry Week or something like that. But I've been told it's a huge deal around here.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was the same thing, man. A long time ago for me too. I was in student council, did goofy stuff in high school as well. We're baking cookies and doing car washes and raising $5-10 here and there. These guys are pulling in corporate sponsorships, and really, I remember a couple of years ago got Mark Wahlberg to stroke a big check, for charities here. So I don't know how they get it done. Obviously, I went to Travelers Rest High School, so it's a little bit different up in those parts. But I love the fact that they do get it done, and just bring awareness to an organization and just raise a lot of money. So it's awesome.
That's bad. I like it. That's great. Hillcrest at Greenwood.
Hillcrest coming off a tough one in that Golden Strip rivalry or they actually won, knocked off Malden again. I think they've run off about 15 in a row in that one. Greenwood actually coming off a tough loss to a really, really good TL Hanna bunch, lost by a point. They've been playing with fire the last few weeks, but I think Greenwood gets it done in this one.
Abbeville at Westside.
This is going to be a fun game. Keep your eyes peeled on this one. Upset alert here. Abbeville, 1A school, perennial power. Doesn't matter what's on the back of the jersey. It's what's on the front. These guys just roll in talent year in, year out. Westside down. They have played some really, really tough competition, especially out of state, but they do not look very good this year. Would not be surprised if Abbeville went over there and won that football game.
Eastside at Boiling Springs.
Eastside so improves. Can't be more impressed with Lucas Tankersley, the running back linebacker there. Just does everything for them. Bowling Springs replacing a lot of pieces, especially on offense and some really vital coaches as well. I like Eastside Eagles to win this football game.
Malden at TL Hanna.
Malden again coming off that tough one last week, but I love what Coach Cook is doing here with this Mavs program. They seem to be very much improved. Unfortunately, they're going up against TL Hanna. I think the Yellow Jackets are hitting their stride. Lost in week 0 to Burns, kind of got beat up pretty bad, but they've been running them off ever since. This is a top 5 caliber team in TL Hanna, and they're really, really good.
And we'll wrap it up with Hampton County at Christ Church.
This is a fun one. Hampton County coming from the lower part of the state, a really, really good 2A program. These guys are big. Christ Church, we know what they can do, a perennial power here in 3A in the upstate. This should be a fun ball game. I think Christ Church is a little bit better, but they will be tested. I give them advantage. That's a long road trip for Hampton County, about 3 or 4 hours to come up here and play in the upstate. But I like the Cavs in this one.
Keegan wants to know whose Nana kidnapped you and brought you to the living room there.
I am at a graduate hotel, so if you've ever stayed at one of those, you know the decor, you know the motif.
No, not calling out or anything, but it's a great point. Jarrell Hendrick.
Wait, what's a graduate hotel? I've never heard of that before.
A place. The place. It's a place.
Yeah, we're not giving them any airtime.
Like that's the name of.
Oh, okay. I thought it had to do with the
No, not like Jarrell's graduated or anything like that. That's the name of the place.
I am graduated. I am.
However, if you want to,
congratulations.
If you want to feel like you're sleeping in the, in your granny's basement from going up, Jarrell got a suggestion for you. Is what we're saying.
Just let me know. They give my company a discount. That's why I'm here.
Find Kevin, John, and Jarrell at movinchains.com, at Moving Chains across all the social media. And the podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google. Make sure you are following them because they also go live, wrapping up Friday nights with scores and stats from around the entire state of South Carolina. My man, good to have you back in the fold. Jarrell, appreciate you, big dog.
Hey, appreciate you guys for having me on. Hopefully I can round up the other guys and we'll be here next week.
Yeah, we're fine without him. You can do it. You're killing it.
I appreciate that, guys.
Jarrell Hendricks from the Moving the Chains podcast. When we come back, Denton Day hosts college football overtime on Sirius XM. He will join us and give us his thoughts on the college football weekend upcoming, some of the potential upsets we have talked about, a couple of interesting games happening tonight. We'll get Denton Day's thoughts on all of it next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Nice job, brother. Well done.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm glad you.
Rapid fire.
Thanks for being the 1/3 of y'all who took the time to show up, man. Means
I felt bad. I had to leave Kevin hanging last. Well, John left him hanging. I had a work obligation, so and then John left me hanging this morning. So we'll get the band together next week.
Hell yeah, love to hear. So. All right, brother. Appreciate it, big dog. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
See you, buddy.
Guys.
The man, the myth, the legend, the icon. What's
Look at
up,
that
buddy?
mustache.
I'm still not fully committed, but I'm living my life as if I am, Denton Day, because I've been told it's about the confidence with which you carry it that makes it or breaks it.
And I can tell that you reshaved again too, which means you're really leaning into the bit.
I did. It was the wife was home Monday for one day, and she said, and I quote, "I think I'm gonna need like a day or two to decide." And I was like, "Oh, you need to bask in my presence. I understand that." And she went, "No," and then she left for Charleston literally the next morning. So I was like, "You know what? Let me shave it. Let me have it like clean shaven. She'll see it close." And then she came back yesterday and was real mad about a bunch of stuff. So she didn't get a chance to look at it yesterday. So I will tell you that come Monday, it'll either be all stubble or we will be fully committed. And I can't decide which one it is yet.
One, two.
Can you dig it?
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio, rolling ever closer to a college football Saturday.
To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game.
Here's the best part about college football Saturday. Two things. Number one, it actually starts tonight because we've got, I think, a couple of interesting games on the docket for a Friday evening. We're going to get to that. The second best part about college football Saturday is getting to discuss it with a man, a myth, a legend, an icon, a titan of the industry. He is the host of SiriusXM's College Football Overtime. He is also a host and producer on the BetMGM Network, and he's also my friend, Denton Day, joining us here on the show. What up, big dog?
What up, gangster? Called a little audible this week. I appreciate your flexibility, but I feel like this is better anyway because we're much closer to games and we actually have fun ones on a Friday, so it's perfect.
I got to tell you, I don't mind moving it to Friday if you want, because not only is it, it's not that it's fresher, it's just the anticipation not building up as much. And I got interviews the last like 3 segments in a row, so it's like easier for me. So
You're just skating off into the weekend, easy breezy.
It's the best. Let's talk some college football, buddy. And let's jump right in with a game. There are, I think, 2 tonight that are relatively interesting. The first in the ACC with Florida State on the road at Virginia. The line kind of tripped me up a little bit. It's only FSU minus 6.5, but I also feel like I'm kind of getting trapped here. Why? Because I know Florida State has not been on the road yet. This is the first road test. Virginia was expected to kind of be a rollover opponent. Tony Elliott's kind of got the boys playing a little better than we expected. There's a lot of moving pieces here, but I also look at a team that beat Bama, dropped 70 on the heads of 2 in a row. Yeah, they're on the road, but like, how is Florida State only a 6.5-point favorite here?
I think it's respect to UVA and their offense. Chandler Morris has been really, really good for them this year, but you do have to add a small caveat of, hey, listen, they haven't played anybody. UVA has not seen anyone that is going to have the kind of speed that Florida State has and the speed that they have at every single position, because there's not a position on that defense. We talked about this, Rob. That was the biggest takeaway from that Bama game. I know that was weeks ago now at this point, but they were so fast everywhere. So I'm going to be really interested to see how a team like UVA, who, again, hasn't really played anybody of note, is going to be able to handle that speed and then adjust to that speed. I think they're a really, really good team, Florida State is, but that line, it struck me immediately. I think I'm actually riding UVA 7.5 because there has to be something up there. Everything in my brain says that this should be a much larger line. It's not like Charlottesville's a tough place to play. It's a nice stadium. It's beautiful, beautiful area, but it's not exactly a tough place to play. So I think that I think UVA might be able to keep it close with Florida State. It's a look-ahead game. They got Miami next week. They're focused on that.
That's fair. Game Day announcing that they're going to be in Tallahassee for the first time since Kirk Herbstreit talked the committee out of putting Florida State in the playoffs. So I'm sure he's going to have a grand old time there in Tallahassee, Florida. We will find out. Yeah, this one's interesting to me. Let's go over to the other game taking place at 9 o'clock tonight. TCU at Arizona State. TCU, a top 25 team. Arizona State favored by 3.5 at the crib. Kind of a pick 'em game here. This feels like a game where Arizona State needs to make a statement of either we're here or just go ahead and announce we're not.
You're either here or take a seat at the back of the classroom. Like you're done. You're not at the front of the line anymore, and there are teams that have now jumped you. They had all the momentum coming into this year from last year. You return your quarterback. There were a lot of things moving in their direction, and that Mississippi State game was a weird one, Rob. We all watched it at the end of it. Well, maybe we didn't because there was other games going on, but we saw the end of that one, and you're like, wait, they gave up what to Mississippi State? They came back, and then they what? Like, how did that work? I think it's going to be I think this is going to be a knockdown dragout one. This to me looks like it's going to be a fun. You want to talk about Big 12 after dark? This is a Big 12 after dark game. Kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I think you're going to see a lot of offense from both sides. And I got Arizona State laying 3.5. I think they're going to get back on track. And I think we're going to be on a collision course, a triple threat collision course, if you will, with Arizona State, Iowa State, and Texas Tech to decide who are the two teams that are going to be playing for the Big 12 championship.
You subscribing to all this Texas Tech stuff?
I'm subscribing to the amount of money that they paid. I don't know if I think they're awesome, but I know they're paying to be awesome. And I think that's a big deal.
Okay, I need to know. I think that's a big deal. In a I hate it kind of way, or a I don't care kind of way, or a welcome to college football in 2025 kind of way?
I like it because anyone can do it now at this point. You just you got to be really nice to the dorks at your school. Like this should be an anti-bullying cry across college football. You got to be really nice to the nerds that are going to be like hedge fund CEOs that are going to have a lot of money so you can get that defensive lineman that you really want.
Don't bully the nerds because you never know when they're going to be able to buy your 5-star quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, that wide receiver who's 6'6"? Yeah, I want him. Go get him $1 million.
I respect it. All right, let's go kind of skip around a couple of other games over the weekend. Brad Evans asked me about this one on Tuesday night. I ask it about you. On one hand, I think Indiana's the real deal. On the other hand, Indiana beating Illinois by 53 is stupid. I want to believe that USC is back, that finally Mr. Riley got it together out there in Hollywood, California, and we're going to see them on the way back up, but I don't believe it. What do I make of this USC-Illinois game?
You should lay the points with USC. It's not even that USC is that good. I don't really think they're that good. I don't think Lincoln Riley is all that spectacular anymore. But if you're just looking at it from how is Vegas setting the line, and maybe I'm looking too deep into this, but generally speaking, and we've seen this with other teams this year, when a ranked team loses, Vegas loves a bounce back because they're going to think that the public is going to be all off of that particular team. So the fact that Illinois is a 6.5-point dog at home in what should be like prime bounce back territory means that USC should theoretically mop the floor with them. And again, I don't like USC. I think Lincoln Riley has a very punchable face. I think it's kind of lousy that they have to go out publicly and be like, hey, please come to our football games. But because of that, I do think they're going to try and run it up a little bit if they have the opportunity to. They need some style points to generate some of that buzz. So I do think USC wins. I think they win pretty comfortably.
All right. What are we doing with Notre Dame? They played, I think, the hardest 2-game schedule out of the gate of anybody in college football. They go 0-2. However, they are Notre Dame, so they stay at 24. They're on the road at Arkansas this weekend. Arkansas is kind of one of those mid-tier SEC teams. I'm like, I could see them taking a step in either direction, positive, negative, good or bad. I don't know what to make of that team yet. If Notre Dame loses this game, they drop to 9-3. I got to assume the playoff race, although you and I have both agreed, there's a 9-3 team somewhere in the playoffs this year as a possibility.
Right.
Is Notre Dame a candidate to be that 9-3 team?
Nope. That 9-3 team just had a quarterback have surgery on his hand. That's the 9-3 team. It's going to be Oklahoma. You have to have a gauntlet of a schedule to justify getting in as a 3-loss team, which Notre Dame does not. And if they start losing to teams, you lose to Texas A&M, okay, sure. Crazy game in the context of it. That was nuts, whatever. You lose to Miami, all right, week number 1, whatever. You lose to Arkansas in late September, you're just not that good. So forgive me for plagiarizing a very Southern phrase. I'm not from the South, but I'm going to try my best here. I'm going to throw them out with the bathwater. I don't need Notre Dame right now. Nothing about them entices me at the moment outside of what their brand is, but I grew up with more than just 4 television channels. So I never was like a massive, like that's why Notre Dame is such a big deal. I did not get sucked into that. I like other teams. I'm kind of good on Notre Dame. I like Marcus Freeman a lot. I think he's a really, really good coach, but you don't schedule particularly tough for the entire season. You just kind of front load the schedule. So when you start losing to teams like in Arkansas, potentially, that you should destroy, I don't see why that should justify you getting into the playoffs. So if they lose this one, I don't want to hear any more about Notre Dame this year.
I would like to throw out something I just found that I find very interesting here at Denton Day, because I spent all week long saying, I think the LSU Tigers are overrated.
Yeah.
I spent all week long saying, I think Ole Miss, this Trinidad Chambliss guy, might have found a little dog there, might have found their little Lenora Sellers, their little Cam Newton down there in Oxford, Mississippi. And I spent all week saying, give me Ole Miss in the upset. I'm falling for Lane Kiffin's bull crap again. Give me Ole Miss and the Rebels. And now I go, look, and Heidi Ho, would you look at this? The Rebels are -1.5 Denton Day.
Yes, that line's been that way for at least 2 days, because I jumped on it as soon as I saw it move that direction. And I was like, I need to get on this before it gets a little out of control. Like, I do think there is a potential, or maybe it goes to 2.5, or potentially 3. 3 might be a little insane by the time we kick off. But Trinidad Chambliss is, one, a dude, and he's also playing with house money. You know, when he beats LSU this weekend, which he will, when he beats LSU this weekend, you're going to get a lot more information on him as like a person. The guy was playing D2 football last year, and now he's starting in the SEC. That's asinine. And he's not just starting, he's thriving in the SEC. But really, if you just want X's and O's stuff, he presents a problem for LSU that they haven't really dealt with, which is a quarterback that has legitimate mobility and will use that mobility. Cade Klubnik has mobility. We know what that Clemson offense is at this point this season. It's not very good. DJ Lagway is not exactly a mobile quarterback. So LSU's defense, while they have looked really, really good, and they are a good defense, having the challenge of dealing with a quarterback that can throw and run and isn't afraid to do either is going to really put some pressure on that offense. And that offense hasn't been very good against quality competition. You can beat up the teams that you're paying $1 million to and hang 50 on them sick. But what are you doing against actual competition? And I am still waiting on a little bit more from LSU. I think Ole Miss wins this one, Rob, and I think Chambliss looks really, really good in the process.
I think that's great. I also think it's great that you brought back the word sick. I think that needs to get back into the rotation here. Let's jump through on a couple of more interesting thoughts. Penn State, Oregon, obviously, I think highlight game of the weekend, 7:30, and then Alabama, Georgia. I'm kind of thinking upset in both of those games, Denton Day. Like, I don't know if I'm just looking for some drama to get excited about, because I'm normally not that guy. But I think Dante Moore can go outdo Drew Aller at Penn State if he can get over the environment. And I think the Crimson Tide had something woke up in them a little bit after that Florida State loss. What do you make of those two games of the day?
So I feel a little bit more comfortable with Alabama because they are not afraid of playing in Georgia. It's not to say that Oregon is, but a whiteout is insane. I've never been to one. Unfortunately, I'd like to go to one. It is a completely different environment. And I don't really think, I mean, unless you're like practicing in a classroom with nothing but fluorescent lights on, which I don't think Oregon is, but maybe they are. I don't know how you can simulate that at night. The gravity of seeing 100, I think it's like what, 110 they fit in there? 110,000 people in all white. It has to be a blinding set of circumstances. Now, with that said, Penn State starts slow, and they start slow against bad teams. So what are they going to do against good teams? And if they're going to put the pressure on Drew Aller and say, hey, Drew, you're a quarterback. We trust you. Go win us the football game. We're going to ask you to make a bunch of big throws, and you are going to be our Superman. They're going to lose. You need to run the football. You need to take as much pressure off of Drew Aller as possible, and then allow him to, when necessary, make a couple of big throws. If he makes 3 big throws, they're probably going to win that football game, Rob, if that's all they're asking him to make. If they're asking him to make 10 big throws, they're in trouble. I really like Dante Moore. It's just I'm going to be very cautious about how he is going to perform in the whiteout, because that is a legitimate, scary, scary environment if you've never been in it. And on the other side, Ty Simpson looks really good, man. Like they have used what happened against Florida State as a positive, and they've gotten him into a little bit of a rhythm. So that, I think, is going to be a showdown. I think you get a coach in Kirby Smart that is a genius, and then you have Kalen DeBoer on the other side, who is starting to feel a little bit of the pressure. I don't know if that one lady is going to buy him out now if they win the lottery, if they beat Georgia, so maybe he can secure his job.
Fair enough. I like the upset in both. Denton Day from college football, overtime on Sirius XM. Real quick, 30 seconds. Clemson, what do you make? 30 seconds, South Carolina. What do you make after both of them take L's last weekend?
Yeah, that South Carolina loss was tough, man. I thought they kind of pulled one over with the Lenore Sellers ended up playing. I thought they were going to be able to pull away with one. I think Missouri's actually a pretty decent team.
I think Missouri's a pretty good team, dude.
Yeah, I think Bo Preble is onto something. So I think by the end of the season, they'll be feeling way more comfortable. Clemson won't be. I mean, that is a disaster. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Dabo. Like, I can do the bird's eye view thing. I have a lot of respect for Dabo and what he's done at that program. I don't know how you can justify what's happening to that program right now. It is terrible. He needs a massive reevaluation period.
I don't think it's unfair. I don't think that's an unfair take at all. Denton Day hosts college football overtime on Sirius XM Radio. He also hosts and produces on the BetMGM network. You can find him on X at the Denton Day, and you can find him in our hearts. Denton, you icon. Thank you, brother.
All right, fellas. See ya.
You're the best. Denton Day from SiriusXM, the BetMGM network, and just a all-around good dude. Appreciate him coming by. Usually on Wednesdays, we might be moving Denton to Fridays. Friday vibes are high late in the show, so it's nice to have him as a part of it. When we come back, Lonzo and I look at some of the games we haven't picked. You heard us make a couple of them there. We look at our NFL schedule and make some picks there as well. We wrap up the hashtag Friday Football Fiesta next on the Fan Upstate.
So I believe what was happening, I think because he doesn't have headphones on or earpods, I think he's listening on a speaker. And because Rob is incredibly loud, it was going from the speaker back into the microphone, and that was causing the echo. So I had to ride the fader the entire time, which is fine. I mean, I may have missed it a couple of times, but for the most part, I got it.
My brain's not on right now. What am I listening to?
It's just it's
not a theme song or something?
No, it's just called Hat Trick. It's like, to me, it's like a mix of Elton John and Survivor.
No, I for some reason in my head I'm like,
it does sound like it should be on a
theme song.
Should be a montage while they're prepping for a big fight.
This should be something. This should be something. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Thank you very much to our esteemed colleagues and guest today on the show. We appreciate it. Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast, Jarrell Hendricks from the Moving the Chains podcast, and of course the illustrious Denton Day from SiriusXM's College Football Overtime, because I said I would keep you updated. We are through right now 11 holes for our leading group. Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas have given back a pair to John Rahm and Terrell Hatton, who now find themselves up 1 through 10. They are on 11 at this point, and it looks like they're the opportunity here for DeChambeau and Thomas to potentially get one back if they can knock this one down. I'm waiting on the little scoreboard to update because I was doing the show and not paying attention to what the score of the golf tournament is.
You were so hyped
My
this
bad.
morning, and now they're letting you down, and I'm sorry about that.
A lot left to go. Here's the stat that they just flashed on the board that has got me out of sorts right now. Rory McIlroy has 5 birdies on the day. Team USA as a whole has 7. There are 4 teams out there for the Americans. And Rory McIlroy has 2 fewer birdies right now than the entire team. Scheffler and Henley right now down 4. And so making a putt there, I believe this will be to have the hole. So we will stay 4 down there. McIlroy and Fleetwood up 4 on our guys. Morikawa and English, the only match we do not trail in. Schauffele and Cantlay are up 1 on McIntyre and Victor Hovland. So right now, 3-1 Europe. Of course, no points are turned in until the round is over. But the Americans, not the start they wanted. Got real hot out of the gate. And then, I don't know if it is like Scotty Scheffler came out world number 1, get his ass kicked, and I think it just all kind of started falling apart.
So I have a major question for you. We know the Ryder Cup captain for the USA decided not to play. Is he regretting that?
Look, I don't know. It's a tough spot for Keegan Bradley because I get it. We talked very briefly about it, but I get it. I get that spot. In that if you pick yourself and you go out there and you stink and the team loses, you're the scapegoat, right? Like you're the guy. Fair or not, you're the guy. If you go out there and you kick ass but the team loses, they're still going to say, well, if you would have been captaining, you played like you could have dialed in whatever. There's one way that turns out good for Keegan Bradley, which is you play, you kick ass, and your team wins. You have to pull all 3 out of the bag, and that's a tough spot. I get him not wanting to play. Does he mash the panic button? And by the way, like no reason, even if you go down 3-1, it is not ideal. Give yourself a lot of work to do. It's not, you're not done. You can come out this afternoon, play 4 ball, get a couple of points back. 4 points available in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. Like you can come back today, and as individuals, maybe some of your guys go out there and light it up, and we can get some of those points back. So not panic. I think at this point down 3-1 with the first group, the furthest group out, finishing up 11 right now. I think your goal is to finish this 2-2, no worse than 3-1. Try to do the same to them in 4 balls later on this afternoon and see what we can get to. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get to some thoughts real quick. We have given you some of the big games that we've got this weekend. Very quickly, Lonzo, Oregon, Penn State. I'm taking the Dogs. I'm taking the Oregon Ducks on the road. Penn State only favored by 3.5 at home. That's a pick'em game.
Yeah, I'll go with Penn State there.
Penn State at the crib. This is probably silly, and I think Denton Day was doing his best to talk me out of it without telling me, Rob Brown, you're an idiot in the last segment.
Dude, the whiteout scares me. Anytime Ohio State plays there and I know it's a whiteout, it scares me to death. So I don't understand why people wearing white is so significant, but it absolutely it causes an atmosphere that's unbelievable. It can only be done in college football.
It just makes the stadium brighter. Like, are the Nittany Lions telling me that they are somehow vocally enhanced by wearing white shirts?
I think the fans get louder. I absolutely do.
I don't know, man. I think you're just louder because it's nighttime and you're hammered. Like, I'm good with that. I don't know. Like, maybe it's just I'm overthinking it. Here's what I do think. I'm all in on Dante Moore. I think Dante Moore is a future Heisman Trophy winner. That's how good this is. Not this year. Maybe this year. Not this year. Maybe this year. Not this year. I think it's coming down the pipe, though. I think he's that good. And I think Drew Aller's not. And I think he outzooms him. Alabama at Georgia. You were out on Bama. Georgia's only favored by 2.5 at Athens, meaning Vegas thinks Alabama's a better football team.
Yeah, I still got Georgia.
See, I'm going Bama on the road. Give me a bunch of road upsets this weekend. I like. I'm going on the record right now with Penn State over Oregon. Scratch that. Oregon over Penn State. I'm going on the record with Alabama over Georgia. I was really excited because I'm like, yo, wire to wire, pick up a bunch of points, doing a bunch of upsets. I'm really not. Like, all the dogs are only dogs by like 2.5, 1.5 points. That's wild to me. That's wild to me. That's a crazy number. South Carolina, Kentucky.
I'm definitely going Gamecocks. I think they bounce back. I think they learn how to play defense again. I think that they actually run the ball on Kentucky. I think Kentucky is what it should be. I know last week I was doing the whole Vanderbilt thing. I was just joking around, and man, that came back to bite me. But in this case, Kentucky is a get-right game. And I do agree with you and Joe and several people on the stream. If they lose against Kentucky, this season is over for sure. They're not going to, though.
I said this morning, I said yesterday. I'll say it again now. This is, and Joey B just trimmed up on exactly, literally to the word what I said this morning. This is the most must-win game of the Beamer era. This is the must-win game for this season, and I'm going to keep it a buck. This might be the game that determines if Shane Beamer is on the hot seat next year. This game. Because if he loses this game, I don't know that outside of Coastal Carolina, I don't know that there's another team on the schedule I pick South Carolina against or even bet them to cover against. And I include Clemson on the road. I include Clemson, at home. I do not know.
Clemson might do some things to make you change your mind before that's over.
We'll see. As of today, if you lose this game to Kentucky, I will not. Forget picking on the air to make me look like a big smart boy or whatever. I'm talking about with my money, the picks that count. I don't know that there is another game that I will see you as even a potential winner with the exception of Coastal Carolina. And even that one, I'll be like, toss up at that point. This game determines your record at the end of the year. If you lose this game, I absolutely do think it is very possible that you could end this season, 3-9. Genuinely. You could end this season 3-9. Get the win over Coastal, lose to everybody else. 4-8 with a win over Clemson. If they go 4-8, but they beat Clemson at the end of the year, is Shane Beamer on the hot seat next year? I got to say yes, right? With Lenore Sellers on the bench, with Nick Harbor, with the team they've got, if he goes 4-8, I do not care if you beat Clemson. That's got to be a hot seat loss, right?
Yeah, but I think a lot of other people care if they beat Clemson because how many years in a row would that be?
Yeah, but I think it's a lot different to beat Clemson and feel good about it when your team is like a perennial 6-6, 7-5 team. It's a different world when you expected to be 9-3, 10-2.
I think anytime you beat your rival, you feel good about it.
Didn't say not feel good about it. Saying it doesn't eclipse the totality of what a bleep show of a season, right? Like that's the response to me. We barely even got to any NFL today. That's on me. That's my bad. Any crazy game this weekend I'm looking at?
I think the big game is Kansas City and Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them is going to end up being 1-3. Yeah.
I don't know, Zoe. The Jets are at the Dolphins on Monday night. That might be it. That might be it. Green Bay at Dallas. Micah Parsons Bowl. What do you make of that? Micah has been complaining about the fact that
look at what happened to Dallas last week. I mean, if he has a good game against Dallas, does it really matter?
Well, entertainment value only. Like, could you imagine him knocking Dak to the dirt like 15 times? Here's the thought. Micah Parsons has been saying for the past week and a half, he's like, yo, Green Bay's limiting my stat count. I'm ready to go, but Green Bay's holding me back. I think Micah Parsons is playing every damn snap against the Dallas Cowboys. I think this, like, they've been limiting the snap count to have him 100% for this game. He is 100% for this game. Turn Micah loose and let's entertain ourselves, shall we?
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
Saints at Buffalo. The Bills are favored by 15.5. Take them to cover.
That's all?
Take them to cover.
Wow. Okay. It's okay. All right. Let's get to what to X, and that might make you feel better. It may not. I don't know. All right. The first thing it's Xing is Cam Newton.
Cam Newton is Xing because Cam Newton had some criticism, I think justified and valid, of Tua Tagovailoa not too long ago. Tua Tagovailoa yesterday at a press conference answered and said, I'd like to see anybody from off the streets come out here and play NFL quarterback. Cam's killing it in the media thing, but I'd like to see him play NFL quarterback. It's on YouTube, bud. It's on YouTube. I got to tell you, this is going to sound like a joke. It's not meant to be. This immediately, the first thought I had was like, Tua's head really is in trouble.
Yeah.
This Cam Newton,
Yeah,
dog.
I mean, he set records his rookie year. They probably
he went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he went to the Super Bowl. He was a really good quarterback, and Tua, you're not. I mean, at least not right now. I mean, put Tua's stats and wins up against Cam's stats and wins at the same point of their career, and you might want to just be quiet, Tua. And if you put Tyreek Hill on the field with Cam Newton,
I am very much fine for Tua Tagovailoa to fire back at jackasses like me who have never played NFL. You are firing back at a guy who was distinctly and clearly a quarterback in the NFL. I'd like to see Cam play quarterback. It's on YouTube, dog. It's on YouTube right now. You can go look at it.
All right. The next thing that's Xing is Fleetwood Mac.
I really thought you were going to say, is Cam Newton. I don't know why Fleetwood Mac is trending. I will very simply say Fleetwood Mac's amazing.
All right. It is trending, and you're going to love this. Here's
Probably.
why it's Xing, or you won't actually. Split that up and think about what we're watching right now. It has been apparently.
Don't bring me down.
It's been Fleetwood Mac has been said so many times.
McElroy,
that people were talking about making a drinking game out of it.
McElroy and Fleetwood are out there together. Also 4 up on Morikawa in English, which I told you was the worst pairing on the group. Scotty Scheffler's down 4 through 11. DeChambeau and Thomas, who got out to the hot start, are now down 2 through 12. The only lead we have is Schauffele and Cantlay, 1 up through 9, and they are about to potentially. Okay, this is let's see, English Morikawa. They miss, so we're not going to win the hole there. Could have got one back, but Morikawa misses the putt. Our putting sucks. It is all on the green. Everything we're giving up, all on the green right now. If you can't putt, you can't win. Yeah.
Speaking of suck, I guess. Marvin Harrison Jr. is Xing right now.
Okay. He looked awful in that football game last night.
He did get a touchdown, right?
Until he didn't look awful in the football game anymore and got a touchdown. He had like a good screen out of the gate, like 9-yard pickup. He read the blocks, and then he sucked for like 2.5, 3 quarters. And then he came alive at the end of that football game, which, by the way, what a freaking football game that was last night. Kyler Murray leads a game-tying touchdown drive. Scores with 28 seconds left to play. Seattle gets the ball back. Sam Darnold turns into like prime Joe Montana.
By the way,
drives Seattle back down the other way.
Sam Darnold also Xing. That was where I was going.
Should be. And honestly, Kyler Murray should be Xing too.
And I've seen a lot of another reason why he's Xing, people showing how good the quarterbacks who Matt Rule gave up on.
Are doing. Yeah. It's pretty spectacular. Baker, Sam Darnold. It's a good vibe. Yeah, this is that was a good game last night. Late game. I did not stay up to watch the end. I got up and finished it up this morning. Spectacular contest. The first Thursday night game of the year that I go to bed early turns out to be the best Thursday night game of the last 2 years.
All right, last one. AJ Styles is Xing.
John Cena keeps teasing that we're going to get a Cena Styles match on his retirement tour, which is the only good thing that would have happened on his retirement tour so far.
AJ, by the way, saying he will retire in 2026.
Maybe they won't screw his retirement up run like they've screwed John's.
It's a matter of opinion.
Is there anybody who thinks the Cena retirement run has been good?
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. So are a lot of those fans who are there to see Cena. Yeah.
Nah, bruh.
You said if there's anybody, I just gave you an example.
Okay, that's fair. That is what I said. Way to take it literally. Thanks for being here, people. Enjoy your Friday. Do not drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. We'll see you back here on Monday. Break down the football weekend. That is all Ryder Cup. See you Monday on the Fan Upstate.
Haters, man.
Guys, I may need a I may need a mimosa.
All right. Well, you're almost done for the day. Go do what you got to do, man.
I may need a mimosa.
Do it at home, but I mean, in case one leads to like 10.
I got Scotty can't get out of the rough. Oh, this is brutal. This is brutal. I like the Masters more than the Ryder Cup, you know?
You've always said that.
I've always said that. Oh, man. All right, guys, that's it. I got a jet. You're all fantastic. Thanks for being here.
Not all of you are fantastic.
Most of you are fantastic.
There's just a couple. You know who you are.
Some of you are better. Some of you are worse. But I appreciate you being here. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. Goodbye.